the bombs began to fall. Now where were you, my dear? Did you think a plane would come and save you from this wreck? I'm sorry, but you were wrong. Let's hop a train, get out of here. There's but one left that'll take us where we need to go. We all knew that it was gonna end this way, so hold my hand and there'll be nothing to fear. If you're afraid, we'll get some beer. If you're still afraid, well then we'll get some whiskey too. And we'll drink it till we can't remember our own names. Smash those bottles against the remains of this machine. So when the sun falls to the sea, and everything we thought we had is gone, may we wake up bathed in a glorious radiant dawn. Pick ourselves up, move right along.
Alright, enough talking about AOC pick memes. Let's do this podcast.
In medias res.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the Garret Schuelke podcast. I am your host, Garret Schuelke, and we're just talking about a very light subject in light of the more darker ones that have been going on. Because, you know, we're living in the wasteland. You know, if you listen to the last podcast, you know, Zach and I were on together back in March. I did the whole thing about how, we're in the COVID wasteland now. You know, we're here at Elmblad Media Group bunker.
Yeah, my bunker.
Yeah, you know, I felt the rush of killing super mutants for the first time with power armor. It was fun. Doom reference, Fallout, etc. But yeah, it's pretty heavy recently because, as if you're living under a rock, because if anything, GSP is the podcast for people who live under fucking rocks. The country is on fire right now because police once again brutally killed another black man, and we're fucking shit up due to it.
Yep. Also, there's the ongoing pandemic.
There's that.
And dams bursting in the state of Michigan. Record flooding on all of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, we have a new city here in Michigan called Atlantis. You may have heard of it. Mayor Arthur Curry had some Aquaman reference.
Right. Oh, that flew right over my head, man.
Oh, you casual.
Yeah, I've proudly not seen a single Marvel movie.
That's DC, man. Well,
I haven't seen those ones either.
Dude, if I made like a Submariner reference, I could see that going over your head, but Aquaman?
No, I know that Jason Momoa's in that, and that dude is a solid guy in like both like literal and metaphorical senses.
Yeah, he's a very hot, very wooden actor.
Yep, with a fucked up eye. Poor guy.
Yeah, like the line in the movie where like he's first introduced getting into the enemy sub. He drops down, rises up, says, "Permission to come aboard." Like, oh, will you fucking act, you asshole.
Have you seen there's a series on Netflix with him as the star, and he's one of like the fur trappers in Canada.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I don't know the name.
It's called Frontier, I think. It's so good. Declan Harp is his name. He's so good. But yeah, there's not a great depth of acting, but like he's doing his job, which is to be kind of like a tender, lovable, protective meathead, and like that's what he is, and that's what his roles are. At least as far as I've noticed, like called Drago or whatever he was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I do like him as an actor, but he's pretty wooden.
Yeah. Plus, my brother looks like remarkably like that guy, except for like a foot and a half shorter, and so
a tad bit larger.
Yeah.
Well, by that token, you say you also kind of look like them, since you kind of look like your brother.
I would not say that. No, it's mainly the hair and the beard and the eyes that make my brother look like him.
If you did like a mixture of Joe Rogan, Hunter Thompson, and Jason Momoa, you get Zach Elmblad.
You get my ugly fucking bean face with all this shit all over it. My buddy just got like a... by the way, to formally introduce myself, I am indeed Zach Elmblad, but you probably read that on the description of this podcast anyway, so...
Yep, and you are the most prolific guest here on GSP.
Most appearances ever.
Yeah, that's something you could put down on your resume.
I should.
There. Put on your LinkedIn.
Oh, what was I going to say, though? Something about Jason Momoa still? Are we still talking about him? Or about my face? Oh, no, yeah, we're talking about my face and the shit on it. Okay.
Yeah, everything is so horrible that we're kind of deflecting bullshit.
Exactly. I'm going to talk about my ugly face before I talk about all the protests and everything, and then, 100,000 people dying in the United States from a fucking virus. Yep, so... Anyway, my ugly face has this fucking, mole thing on it above my left eye. It drives me crazy, and I hate it. And my buddy just informed me that he got, the actual, cauterizing dermatologist pen that they use to, get rid of that shit. He's like, dude, I can dig out your moles if you want. And I was just like, dude, I cannot offer you enough thanks and gratitude for, helping me with that. I was like, do you know how much this will help me with my ugliness, dude, and my asymmetrical face with a bunch of shit on it? Let's burn those things off tomorrow. So I think sometime soon I'm going to have some black market, underground, minor cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, because God knows Obamacare will not cover this.
No, it will not. But you know what? I trust my talented friends in the medical field, and I trust them, and I'll let them burn shit off my face. I think it'll be fun.
Well, at least both of you should be wearing facial masks when you do it.
We will.
You won't get COVID when you're burning your face off.
No, I won't. When I'm cauterizing the ugly moles off my face. Yep.
All right. Let's get to serious shit.
Sure.
Okay, folks, as you know, America is burning right now, and the big main reason right now is the murder of George Floyd, a black man from Minnesota, who was on camera getting his fucking neck crushed by a pig.
Yeah, by a jackbooted thug, and there's no other description that you can muster that makes this an okay situation. There's no defense of this man. There's no defense of the other people that were around him watching and doing nothing. No one called for backup. The guy was restrained. No one put him in a car to be detained. Nothing. The guy just died. Yeah,
I was listening to Chapo Trap House on my way here, and they unlocked, because a lot of podcasts, they'll do every other episode Patreon only.
Yeah.
Yeah, they unlocked the latest one was unlocked, and they talk about Minnesota and that. And they just said straight up that, we're a country that's pretty desensitized to this kind of violence to an extent, almost accepting of it, but even by those standards, if you've seen the video of Floyd's murder, it's shocking and brutal, beyond belief.
Every adjective that you can come up with to describe that situation and the feeling of watching that guy breathe his life away while pleading for help, there is no adjective to adequately express how fucking deeply disturbing and disgusting it is. If you believe, honestly, that, all people are just, inherently just trying to live their life, and, just to watch this man lose his life for no fucking reason whatsoever, just because some asshole just doesn't like him because of his fucking skin pigmentation. It's so asinine and so morally reprehensible that anyone who argues that the cop was just doing his job or anything, and you don't hear that very much, but this is the common thing, they're just doing their job, they're scared too, they're up against a lot of threats, a lot of the people that they encounter that are dangerous fit these descriptions, and it doesn't matter. I was saying to you earlier off the podcast, the police don't decide who's a criminal or not. The courts decide who's a criminal or not.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
It's the way it's supposed to be. But it's like, if you're going to interpret it as the fact or like the way things are supposed to be, or the like the correct modus operandi, or you know, to the letter law or whatever, like the police can accuse you of something, they can charge you with something, they can apprehend you for something, they can hold you for it, they can question you for it, but ultimately it's either a judge or a magistrate or a grand jury or a jury of your peers or a plea bargain between lawyers and officials. Like, it's the courts that decide if you are a criminal or not the police that apprehended you. They can accuse you of being a criminal, they can present evidence that you're a criminal, but they can't label you a criminal. That's not in their power to do. It's the courts that do that. And so to have these cops be militarized and have the ability to shut down entire protests, like, I've always thought, and probably even discussing this on previous podcasts, specifically with Andy Argo, like, I'm kind of against protesting. I don't think it does much. But at this juncture, what other method of recourse do you have? Like, there's no other way to get the attention of authorities and of news media and of like popular culture to say, like, normal everyday people have absolutely had enough of seeing our friends and neighbors get shot in the street, get choked to death in the street, get fucking hassled in the street, get, you know, incorrectly get profiled and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, I'm tired of seeing SWAT team cops marching around our fucking city, and it's just one city out of thousands and thousands across the country, right? Like, what possible solutions do we have when those who've been like given the task of controlling us as a population have these tools, right? Like, this is what the problem is that these assholes can go around unpunished, unchallenged, deciding what the law is and what it isn't. Because ultimately, if you're driving a fucking tank full of 12 other dudes that are completely decked out in body armor and lethal weapons, like, you're not protecting anyone. You're threatening people. You're threatening people into obedience and subservience, and that's what's wrong. Killing black people is also wrong. Profiling is wrong. Racial prejudice, institutionalized racism, all that garbage is wrong. It's a problem rooted in society. But the problem with the police is that they have way too much power. They overreach what is already too much power, and the courts just back them up. They just let these guys go. They'll take them out of one jurisdiction and stick them into another jurisdiction, just like a fucking priest in the Catholic Church that diddled someone in Arkansas and ends up getting sent to Maine and doing the same fucking thing again. Like, you can't ignore it anymore. As a normal, everyday person that goes to work and exists with their family, like, you're outside of the political sphere, outside of activism, outside of everything. Like, person like me, man. Like, a person who actively doesn't speak out against things because I like to just let nature progress in its organic way. You know, I like to be an observer. But at this point, and you've told this to me, to my face, and I've disagreed with it, is like, if you're in the center, you are part of the problem because you're not pushing for positive change. And in many respects, that's how I've felt for a long time, is that it being in the center, you remove yourself from the argument. And in this one, this case, specifically for me personally, it is not the case. If you don't speak out against this, you are part of the institutionalized racism. And it's just so blatant and obvious and like impossible to ignore that even a person like me who actively goes against those tendencies and wishes to see both sides of every argument, like, now that I've seen both sides of these arguments, there's a clear truth and there's a clear right, and that right is Black Lives Matter. Yep. Just as much as every other fucking life. And to diminish that is immoral, amoral, morally reprehensible, and downright disgusting. That's what I have to say about it.
All right. First of all, you know I love you, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's actually something another day I was thinking of the times that I think I may have pissed you off in some way.
I don't know if you ever pissed me off at all.
Well, let's see. Like, before this podcast, I think you and I got into a shitty argument about public and private schools, even though I was like, it was New Year's Day and I was hungover and you were up all night partying. Huh. So our argument kind of went from like, oh, I like private schools. Well, I don't. Durr. Next subject.
I don't remember this at all.
This was.
I don't doubt you though.
This is the time before the Garret Schuelke podcast.
Okay.
BGSP. And then I think it was, of course, on a podcast with Andy Argo. I jokingly called you our token capitalist.
Oh, the token capitalist. That I did get a little miffed at that.
Yeah.
But you are also right.
You were we never got into that yet, but you said something like, I have something to say about that.
I don't know. I don't know if I like being characterized as a capitalist necessarily, because I feel like there's a lot of connotation there.
Oh, yeah. But, well, first of all, obviously I was joking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And it's funny.
And I... that's the part of joking is that you say something extreme that you obviously don't mean, and you don't go into context is how ruin the joke. But, okay, so, but I do want to ask you, because this is something that I had thought about protesting. You said previously that you didn't think a lot of protests, were really effective or didn't matter. Is that just protesting as a whole, under the umbrella, or just peaceful protests?
Honestly, man, I'm starting to shift my entire frame on this. After a lot of thinking, I guess. Like, it may be ineffective, but I think it's the most effective way of a group of people expressing their dissatisfaction, because you can write all the editorials in the world, but if no one reads them, it doesn't matter. You can make protest music and people can play it, but it doesn't affect real change. I feel probably that protest is necessary now, I guess. And I mean, maybe I felt like because my individual contribution wouldn't have felt to me like it was effective. This particular instance changed my frame of reference on that, because again, as I was saying to you before we started the podcast, like just to be clear to the audience, like yesterday I protested. I went to the protest in downtown Kalamazoo for George Floyd and Black Lives Matter and all of them against police brutality. Like, I am with the entire package of claims. Like, all of those things I agree with. And it was an eye-opening experience for me, because one of the things that made me really distasteful of large gatherings and like the opinions of the masses is when I went to Washington, D.C. I think I've talked about this many times.
Oh, yeah, with Obama's inauguration.
Exactly, Obama's inauguration, and there was fucking garbage everywhere, and people were being shitty to each other. Coupled with all of the really, really positive experiences I had, I found it distasteful for all these people to show up and throw their garbage everywhere, right? So one thing that I saw yesterday that kind of blew my mind a little bit is that, like, as the masses were going, there was people following behind and picking up the water bottles and, like, the just random shit that fell and got kicked into the road. And it was like we would block off the streets for 15, 20 minutes and then move on to another street and let all the traffic through. And, like, that, I feel like that's what a protest should be. Like, it should be disruptive, but not destructive. Disruptive, but not destructive. And constructive, if possible. But, oh, sweet, we're hammering. We're getting hammered here. Yeah, so, anyway, it was my first experience protesting. Like I've said on this podcast before, I find it distasteful and I find it ineffective. Or found it distasteful and found it ineffective in the past tense. Because what I feel like I did personally yesterday as like a normal guy who's 35 years old, works his job, and kind of has a pretty low wave-making effect these days. Just a content creator, you know, not doing anything politically active whatsoever, not even in my writing anymore, really. And I wanted to just stand and be counted. In the same way that I feel like voting for a third party makes me part of a statistic that says I'm tired of Republicans and Democrats, I now feel that standing up for what I believe in and showing up, specifically showing up for what I believe in, makes me be stand and counted as someone who believes in it. And me just saying I believe that Black Lives Matter, and me just saying that police brutality is fucked and the militarization of police forces needs to end, it's not enough. I gotta go to the places where people are saying, like, this is where we all stand and say enough is enough. If I think enough is enough, I'm gonna go to those places now. And so I didn't realize, maybe in my casual observation of things, I didn't realize that that is what was causing these people to go protest. Part of me thought maybe that, oh my god, this hammering is going to be a fucking problem.
Give it a few more minutes.
I know. Anyway, like, what I thought I was standing up for, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I want to stand up and be counted. That's what I'm trying to say. That is the TLDR here.
All right.
Yeah, I have changed my mind on protesting officially.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for me, I just want to make one thing clear when it comes to my views of protesting. I'm pretty much cool with any type that you want to do personally that you feel comfortable with. Whether it's peaceful protesting or just marching or sit-downs or any of that. Or self-defense that involves you directly confronting cops, and when they inevitably hit first, you strike back.
So now you as the seasoned protest veteran here, who finally got tear gassed for the first time last night, why don't we hear a little bit about what you have to say about this? Because I'm inexperienced and used to throw it off as ineffective. You know, so what do you think you did yesterday?
Well, okay. Let me just finish my
sorry to interrupt.
So anyway, yeah, I personally am cool with most parts of what you want to do personally, what you feel most comfortable with. Since one, you're probably doing more than even I am. Since you just call me the seasoned veteran, but most part I haven't really been politically active since 2012.
Okay.
No, but I would say that since I moved to Grand Rapids, this is probably the second or third protest that I've attended. Unless you count the Bernie rallies that I've been to.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you throw a political rally in the same category as a peaceful protest?
No. So,
I mean, I guess they're in the broad category of being politically active or expressing your opinion.
Well, when you're doing that, you're there to see a candidate you like, which in my case is Bernie Sanders.
Right, to support someone.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the police kicking your ass at a Bernie Sanders rally. Honestly, you don't. But with all that said, I prefer confrontational self-defense protests, or as they like call it, violent protest, which, first of all, there's no such thing as a violent protest, per se. It's all self-defense. Mm-hmm. And it's all you reacting to what the power of the state, i.e. the police, does to you. And whether that's fighting them, or just having enough and fucking shit up around you. So, I prefer that because, well, that's how they're gonna listen. Mm-hmm. I mean, before all this all started yesterday, I shared a post where one person said, "Y'all only want peaceful protests because it'd be easier to kick our asses." And yeah, I've been to enough protests before this one last night. The two big ones I would say were the scariest ones I've been to was the NATO 2012 protest in Chicago. And then later that year, god damn it.
Here we go with the banging.
And then later that year, the Lansing Right to Work protest, where, in both instances I saw cops just beat the living fucking shit out of people.
Yeah, that's so scary, dude.
Yeah, and
they're so scary.
And they both turned into riots, so much so that the Lansing Right to Work one actually has an entry on Wikipedia as a workers' riot.
Wow.
Which it was.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, if you protest any way you want, but I have a preference that I think is vastly more effective. But yeah, let's get into our experiences.
Okay.
You experienced a protest, I experienced an uprising. Actually, you just want to go first with your experience because it's a lot shorter.
Yeah, sure, okay. I was here with my buddy. I'm looking for a new apartment, and we were about to go out and look at a couple of different places that we had been looking up and researching, and we heard the march go by. And so, I had marked it as interested on my Facebook. I knew it was happening. I knew where it was. I knew that it was going to be going on, and I had been kind of mulling over this decision to go or not in my own mind because, like I said, as a person who traditionally likes to stick to his own values, I wasn't going to go. I just wanted to express my support for it. But then I sort of began, over the course of watching protests on Friday night, and the reaction to them by the police. I watched the Detroit protests on live for 4 hours.
Oh, I did that too. I watched for nearly 2 hours.
And Atlanta too, when they busted down the CNN building and they were throwing fireworks they were throwing flashbangs back at the cops. I watched all of that transpire until they cut the feed and the journalists ran. Because they filled the entire lobby with smoke, and the police phalanx started to march, and they split out of there, and I watched all that, and I just was like, this is insane. All of these people are trying to express their opinions, and these literal jackbooted fucking thugs in body armor are pushing them around with bicycles, pushing them around with body shields, cracking them in the fucking head with batons, shooting pepper bullets at journalists. Where are we? North Africa? Shooting journalists? How dare they? And that's why I just, we got outside and I looked at my buddy and I just was like, man, I kind of feel strongly that I want to join this right now. And he was all for it. He said, hey, man, yeah, I agree with these ideas too. Let's go experience this. So we went out to the corner here, and Kalamazoo Avenue, which is where my office is, was stopped and filled with people. And I just kind of I was shocked for a minute. I kind of looked at my buddy. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of people here. And that's when I was cemented, right? I do need to stand up and be counted. And so I marched with them down Kalamazoo Avenue to Westnedge, south on Westnedge to, Academy or South Street or something, and then east to Burdick and up Burdick. which is the Kalamazoo Mall. It's basically just the commerce area of downtown Kalamazoo. So we interrupted traffic and made a loud sound, and there was a lot of chanting and stuff. I didn't participate in that. Reminds me too much of Catholic Mass. Ain't gonna do it.
Trigger.
Yeah, dude, responsorial stuff, I don't do that. And I don't even like to, put your hands up at the concert. Don't like to do that. I say, fuck you, you say no. I don't like to do anything like that.
Oh, okay, Lordy.
It's just my personal thing, I understand that, I'm antisocial for not wanting to do stuff like that, and group participation is something I've always struggled with. But not saying I didn't agree with everything they were saying. I just don't like to chant. But the group made a big noise. We made a big sound. We got on TV. But dude, there was fucking cops with sniper rifles up on Radisson pointed at us. There was cops with fucking tear gas. They were ready. They were ready for a brawl. And I just find it disgusting, man. I find it gross. And now, today, you can see news footage from New York City of cops fucking rushing barricades with their SUVs and knocking people over.
2 cars.
Yep. Running through the crowds and just pepper spraying people at random that are running away from them. It's not right. It's not okay. And so I joined in on this protest, and we ended up sort of congregating right in front of the Radisson, which is central downtown Kalamazoo. You can't get more downtown than the Radisson, right?
Yep.
That's the center. And so, or Bronson Park, I guess you could consider the center, whatever. We were in the middle of downtown. And my buddy has an immunocompromised elderly mother, and he was here in Kalamazoo for the express purpose of visiting her. So when the crowd began to get a little too compressed to properly social distance, that's when he kind of wanted to get to the periphery of it. And I was like, okay, man, let's just go right to the side. And we went to the side, stuck around for a little while longer, and then when it started to kind of dissipate back toward Bronson Park is when we decided to just go on our apartment hunting journey and kind of absorb and discuss what we had just taken part in. I took some pictures, posted on my Facebook, again because I want to count myself as having been there. I stood up, I want to say this is the line in the sand for me. And I can't tolerate it anymore. No excuse of they're just doing their job, or they're fighting an unseen battle or whatever like that. I no longer tolerate that. And every single cop that kills somebody in the line of duty needs to be in a courtroom. Not just fired, not just put on administrative leave, not just sent to the desk, not sent from New Orleans to Maine or whatever, LA to Kansas City or something like that. They need to be held accountable for their actions, period. So I stood up. That's what I saw. And in Kalamazoo, everything was lighthearted and jolly and amicable. And it seemed like a lot of the cops didn't want to be there, meaning they didn't want to show opposition to what was happening. And you see that evidenced. This is a Michigan sentiment, man. We acknowledge the cops are people and that they live in the same neighborhoods as us, right? We acknowledge that. And in Flint, especially, the cops, they have to have a close relationship with the populace. And so the Genesee County sheriff, or whatever he was, ended up he threw down his weapons, right, and marched with them. They showed up to protest at the police station, and instead of being greeted by a SWAT team and a bunch of snipers, the cops were all out on the front lawn what do you want us to do? And so they said, join us, and they went. That is the positive solution here. The cops need to accept that, they're responsible for this, and that internally it needs to stop. And they need to talk to each other, and their subordinates need to talk to the officials, and the officials need to talk to the subordinates. And there needs to be a two-way communication there. and they need to find a way to end this, to remove the disruptive elements, not just shuffle them around, you know? They need to address it. And so I feel like personally, you know, watching the cops, I feel like a lot of them were not uneasy because they were scared, but uneasy because they were finally starting to wonder if their livelihood represents something that is not as wholly like protective as they thought it was. You know, they thought they were doing something good, and now maybe they're starting to see that they're part of something that is not doing good. That's what I saw.
All right, so really that was it.
Pretty much, yeah, dude. I was the whole thing took place like 45 minutes. You know, everybody's masked, everybody's wearing signs. You know, posting signs. There was little kids there, old white people. You know, like some of the like homeless guys that are like characters around town. They were there, just kind of like, what is happening right now? Just shocked, you know. And like most of them are black guys, or not most, and half of them, whatever. A significant population of them are representably, you know, African descended or whatever. And like, I'm thinking about a specific person that I know. Everybody who lives in Kalamazoo would know this guy. He like wears a Rasta hat, and he's like maybe 50 or 60 years old, has white hair, and rides a bike with like a little wagon on it, and that's where he keeps all of his stuff. He's a real cool dude. He'll always wave at you, say hi. If you smile at him, he smiles back. Like, he's obviously struggling in some way, you know, but he's just a friendly character around downtown. I saw him at the courthouse, just kind of got his bike out of the way and just like admired, I guess would be the way to describe the expression on his face. I saw a lot of people honking horns, like the people who were stuck in traffic would like roll down their windows and play "Fuck the Police" really loud in their car and just like high five people and stuff. And then, you know, you see the people who are clearly disgusted with what's going on, like all sealed up in their car, not making eye contact with anyone, just kind of like staring at the dashboard, like in their Lexus SUV with the fucking $1,000 Liquid Logic kayaks on top of it, and they're just like, wow, I picked the wrong time to try to go to Gull Lake. Like, so it's, you know, there was a lot that I saw in terms of like minor anecdotes, but I feel like the best way to wrap up what I saw in Kalamazoo is what I understand to be a very well executed peaceful protest of people standing up for what they believe in. Now that being said, I mean, riots and looting and destruction of property and stuff is another aspect of this conversation, and I'm not being so quick to say that I think that it's wrong. And like I said, I sort of, as a result of this weekend, consider myself moderately radicalized, because I see why they're doing it, and the reason that I believe these things start, or if it's what do you call them, the cops that dress normally and go smash shit up to get people started, aggressors, or it's something like that. Agitators, yes, exactly.
Actually,
agitators.
That's the famous one in Minnesota where some guy was breaking up in a fucking auto zone.
Bill Burr looking fucking redhead Irishman.
Yeah, and his fucking ex-girlfriend identified him like, yeah, that's him.
Yep, and he's a psycho. Yep, exactly. And that's what I mean. So if the source is the agitation, I think the reason that it boils over is because people have found that these protests, in what I interpreted it as ineffectiveness, and I think to a certain extent it is. And so sometimes you have to destroy property to make your voice heard, because your voice is not being heard. Like, what's the next level of escalation? Right? Like, there is no, like, the next level of escalation after burning down Target is burning down the police headquarters. Well, that still hasn't done anything. So what do you do now? And like I brought up Killa Mike, he's saying, don't burn down your own city. Like, that's not effective either, right? But they're not burning down their own cities. They're burning down the symbols of what is holding us down, right?
Yeah.
They're burning in effigy the fucking billionaire class that makes it this way, that funds the police, gives them their firepower, gives them all their tear gas cans, gives them all of their riot gear. They don't buy that shit. It's given to them by the state governments, which are, just returning in kind what the big businesses want them to do. Like, they don't want to see this stuff. They don't want to see people rising up and acting. They want to see everybody out in the stores buying shit. And now we've just had 2 months of everybody being cooped up in their houses. We're tired of it. And everybody has just been watching this shit on Facebook and YouTube for weeks and weeks and weeks, sitting there thinking, man, this is pretty fucked up. All this is pretty fucked up. The fact that people are dying for this virus and everything went all squirrely and sideways at the end of March, and we just basically were inside in April, and then these wackos are in. So here's the other aspect of this, the other can of worms, right? Like, all these assholes show up at the state capitol with fucking actual assault rifles, and there's no police snipers to be found. No one's getting jacked in the face with a fucking baton. None of these guys spitting on people in the Capitol, fucking hovering over Congress people trying to do their work. Yeah, in the state capitol, right? But you guys in Grand Rapids, as a segue here for you, fucking...
Very nice.
Yeah, the cops just immediately start shooting fucking tear gas at you like, oh, well, we're scared. Bang, 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 bang. It's okay. The government's going to support us. The state government's going to support us. The police... fraternities are going to support us. The union's going to support us. We can just bash the teeth out of all these fucking people. Well, no, sir, you can't. Because these, like I said at the very beginning of this, is everyday normal fucking people that are sick and tired of seeing their friends and neighbors get gunned down and beaten in the street. And so in Grand Rapids, things took a different turn.
I'm very proud of you that you've gotten into the podcast host mode by saying segues.
I've not smoked weed today, and I've had 2 cups of coffee, so that's part of why I'm so loquacious and agitated.
All right, let me down this H2O. All right, here we go. Here's what happened to me. Yesterday, we were supposed to have a silent march, as they called it. Mm-hmm. It was technically going on, I think, started at noon, but 6 o'clock was when everyone was going to start marching, which I then got there at 5:30, and in Rosa Parks Circle, mm-hmm. Yep, filled up big time with pretty much every type of leftist that you could imagine there. Mm-hmm. And I did hear that there was supposed to be like some reactionary militia types there, but I didn't see them, so I don't know if they were or not.
I did see someone counter-protesting in Kalamazoo with a big All Lives Matter, and they were flipping people off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't even bother taking a picture.
Well, I did see 2 women with, I think are MAGA hats, but mm-hmm. But then again, they could have said, something like, Make America Gay Again or something.
Yeah, I've been tricked by that before, where I see a MAGA hat, and I'm like, wait a second. You look at it, and you're like, that's not the right font.
I hate to say it, but... people don't do that style. It's been ruined thoroughly for God knows how long.
Red ball cap with white lettering. With serif font is canceled.
Yeah, even just the whole thing about make whatever great again. Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's over.
Anyway, so the march got started, and already there were cops on nearby buildings watching and surveilling, mm-hmm. and the people who were speaking before just pointed them out I want everyone to take a look at the guy who's standing up there right now recording us. And so we go from Rosa Parks Circle, we march down the street where the Bob is and go around on the Fulton there. Mm-hmm. And then we turn around that way. God, I'm getting my directions mixed up.
It's hard, man.
And we make it to one of the sides of the Grand Rapids Police Station. Now, for folks who don't know, the Grand Rapids Police Station, from what I read, was supposed to be a mall first, but that went through. So then the police were like, hey, we'll buy this location. And indeed they did. So it's a big building that's like separates two streets. Monroe Commerce Street, I believe it's called. Mm-hmm. Which is just a downtown street with like shops and restaurants and all that. Then there's Fulton, which is a big main street that goes, from east to west. Mm-hmm. So we're on Monroe there, and just all congregate in front of the that one, the entrance on that side. And yeah, it got packed and lit very quickly. There are already cops there to greet us. Not in full riot gear yet, but like the bike cops and like the one was a sergeant, the guy who wears the stupid hat. Yeah. Yes.
Or lieutenant.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know police hierarchy.
It's I guess just the basic cops. Mm-hmm. And one thing I will say, you did not want to be a car on at that moment because there was no destruction of local cars there, but people did like get on top of them to like get better shots and shit, better view. Yeah. There was like a U-Haul that people climbed up on, and during one of the chants they did stomp in the roof there.
Yeah, someone had a bass drum.
Yes,
in Kalamazoo.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
That's very comparable.
Yeah, and instead of jumping up on people's cars, we were just giving each other high fives.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So the cars didn't get fucked up, but it was a bad time if you were a car. Mm-hmm. So people were gathered there. There's some, there's the usual chants and the bangs and whatnot. One dude who just kept yelling, "How does it feel? Tell me, how does it fucking feel?" And it's actually why I and many others were there, because I was there to just be there in support and to witness it all. I didn't have a sign. I didn't participate in any self-defense or anything. I was just there. And that's one thing you gotta remember about protesting too, is just the amount of people that show up.
Yeah.
Whether they do any talking or yelling or whatever. You also got to keep that in mind. It's just the sheer amount of people there. Mm-hmm. And that's what this guy was getting at, because as you could tell with George Floyd and others, cops usually gang up on you and fuck you up.
Yeah, I get the symbolism there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing happening to them, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Albeit on a less deadly scale.
Much less deadly scale.
So that went on for about 2 hours there, all standing there. There was some diversion since this went all the way down Monroe back to like Rosa Parks Circle pretty much. Mm-hmm. Some stuff with traffic, like one person who just seemed either lost or just totally airheaded would like almost drive into there. Like they weren't gonna run, but they like, oh, I could get through, then oh shit, they had to like back out.
Yeah.
There was like a side quest, if you want to call it, because they had, of course, cops on horses. Mm-hmm. And we tried to chase them out because cops love to attack people with fucking horses.
Yeah, they do. Trample on them.
Yep. Actually, I remember one of my most vivid memories of the right to work protest in Lansing was this fucking horse cop, a woman, by the way, had her horse, like, kick a guy, this old hippie dude on a Segway, I think it is. Just rear-ended. Just hit this guy off, and we all, of course, yelled at her.
Yeah.
And she just did a, like, just a shrug and a grin.
The nonchalant, oopsie.
Yeah, the deal with it meme? That's around? If that shit was around, like, the
sunglasses and the joint just come off.
Would, like, just came down on her head after she kicked this old hippie. Yep. Yeah. That's what would happen if that meme was around back in 2012.
Yeah, dude. You just see video clip after video clip after video clip of that type of shit from this weekend. The horses stomping people.
Yeah.
The bear spray, like the long distance pepper spray. Yeah. Just they're flying by in an SUV, just blanketing crowds of people that are not violent, like they're not doing anything but just standing there.
Yeah. But they kind of got chased away a little bit until someone noted that they were trying to like lead the majority crowd away from the police station, sound tactic. Mm-hmm. So we all kind of stopped chasing and went back to the police station.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little over 2 hours of that. Then people started running because I went up on Wealthy there, where like the big war memorial statue is. Mm-hmm. People then start running to the other side. Someone shouting tear gas. They shot tear gas. So I didn't like see a cloud of smoke or anything, but I did hear a pop. The pop of it. So, but it could have been anything. So I'm not sure. But people were scared off that they congregated on the other side of the building on Fulton, and that's where it got really bad. And as we always say, it's the cops that start this shit. So, yeah, they started it. They shot first.
Yeah.
And everyone congregates on there. And it's even bigger now because Monroe is more enclosed and Fulton is way more open. Just take over that street. And by this time, the cops start coming out in riot gear. And even the cops that were like on nearby buildings were... there's more of them showing up. One of them even put out a drone, like a huge, typical drone. And people had their own drones, by the way, like little small ones.
Yeah.
But this was like big police one.
Yeah.
Yep. So
the DJI Matrice, that's what they're flying over you. That's thermal sensing capability, all sorts of stuff.
Yep. And that's when protesters start getting agitated because. Honestly, the police are starting to try to pick a fight. Yeah. So then and this is a point of contention now that's going on online, and you'll probably hear in the news, people start spray painting the side of the building with rest in peace George Floyd, BLM, fuck the police, ACAB.
Yeah.
Someone even drew like a big yellow dick on the side of it.
Excellent.
Yep, and I found this very interesting. Compared to the last two protests, I know this happened in Chicago, but I didn't see it because it was so big, and I think we ran off before it happened. But people started getting shit like trash cans and street signs and shit, and started like setting up barricades in the streets. Mm-hmm. And more interesting is that protesters, specifically black folks, were actually like using their cars to like come in, especially like if they had a Jeep or something, mm-hmm. and they would use that as well to block the street as well to stop the cops from coming in and advancing with their own vehicles.
Nice.
And that started going on, and it got a lot more volatile.
Yeah.
And after that, another hour passed. And, it's just a bunch of chanting and intimidation, not knowing what the fuck's going on. Until, up on the intersection of Wealthy and Fulton, someone decided to, in the barricades, take a trash can and set it on fire.
Wonderful.
Yep, and then hear more pops, and because you see, like I said, they're starting to set up, like, corridor crossing. Mm-hmm. I think these came up Fulton, going, towards Heritage Hill, where I live. Mm-hmm. Go figure. Started hearing, in response to them lighting this shit up, they started shooting tear gas. Then you hear the smash of glass. Mm-hmm. And here's probably one of the more controversial parts of this podcast, with my opinion and all. They busted up the front doors of a place called Villa, Join the Movement. Or it's just Villa and Join the Movement's the slogan. It's basically this really bougie clothing shop where if you want to cosplay as Kanye West, I guess, you can go there. has all that type of clothing.
You want to cosplay as Kanye West?
Which being a big Kanye stan that I am, is much interest to me.
So expensive clothes that look weird to a normal person.
Yep, I got my $100 plain white Yeezy T-shirt. I got my Adidas Yeezys, but no. So in response to them shooting tear gas, people ran and people smashed the front door of this, and so at least 3 people just come out with shit and just start running. One of them, I think, was a homeless dude, actually. And so then it just went down from there. Like, I decided to, like, stay back after they shot that shit off. Mm-hmm. And I was actually, like, looking around, actively looking for ways to escape if I need to.
Yeah.
Like, I actually found about 3 ways to do it while I was just standing there, including going into the parking structure. Mm-hmm. Oh, and this will come up further in the story, but, of course, being me, I had to go to the bathroom. Both ways. So, that didn't help either, having that discomfort there.
Yeah.
And, well, it didn't happen until a second volley, but I kind of, did a little pee-pee there because I was actually scared.
Right.
And people were running in droves, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's scary, dude. Getting shit shot at you. It's fucked up.
And actually, on the other side of Villa, because there's an alley on the side of Villa between that and, like, a liquor store. Mm-hmm. Riot cops with tear gas guns just waiting there. I'm like, oh, shit. I went back further because they were literally right there. Mm-hmm. Like, they weren't far off in the distance or on a roof. They were right across the street from me.
Yeah.
And, so those cops kind of stayed there a little bit. They went up a little bit in their big black truck. You know, they're hanging off the sides with sides like they're in a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. Or like they're in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, there was a peaceful protester that was there who was pissed off at the 3 people that looted Villa. So she just kept screeching about how it's supposed to be a peaceful protest. You people are horrible. You deserve to get arrested. I'm like, oh, fuck you, lady.
Oh, man. It's so distasteful to say stuff like that while you're there protesting that.
Yeah,
you know what
again, I'm not against peaceful protesting in itself, but a lot of the people just leave a bad taste in my mouth. As I'll tell later. But eventually those cops backed off. I guess they got their orders, go somewhere else. And I felt a little bit more calm, and I went back up and walked Fulton. Mm-hmm. And a little bit more calm there. You know, kind of more people spray painting, and they eventually smashed in the windows of the Secretary of State's office, which is in the same building as the police station. Okay. Like, it's right out front there.
Okay.
One of the many, actually. I don't go to that one because I don't want to deal with traffic downtown. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, they smashed that out. And immediately, as you can imagine, all the media in Grand Rapids were there just covering it. And unfortunately, one of them was the local Fox affiliate. Again, I'll come to that later. Okay. And so I just spent the time just taking pictures and surveying the scene and being amazed by it, actually. Mm-hmm. One thing that really surprised me that, like I said, I haven't been really politically active since 2012. And in a way, the Chicago and Lansing protests kind of broke my heart, broke my will in a way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, God, I know the last podcast we did, I talked about, like, the rush of killing a super mutant. You know, here in the COVID wasteland. Mm-hmm. No, I felt a rush there. Mm-hmm. Even though I wasn't, like, honestly directly doing anything, I felt the rush of being there in the moment.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I feel like while you're expressing your right to free speech, you're allowed to experience a little bit of civic pride. Like that, I feel like that's...
Well, yeah.
That might be what
it was just so surreal seeing all this going on in downtown Grand Rapids to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people thinking that exact same thing all over the country right now, man. Like,
yeah, that's actually also memes when it comes to, like, vandalism and stealing is like the rush.
Yeah. That's fun. Yeah.
So
all that shit's insured, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, well, before I get to the last half of the story, I guess I'll go off on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck you if you put property over people, for one.
Agreed.
And number two, these places, especially like the big corporations and that, like Target, for example, that's been a big focal point. Mm-hmm. They're not part of the community per se. They just land in there and sell shit. That's really it.
I'm going to go back to this Killer Mike speech that I watched because I was moved by it. But he was basically saying, like, you took jobs from the people in your community. And I think that's really the only counter argument there, is that they are involved with the community because they employ people in the community. But it's fucking garbage wage. They're not taking care of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, like, there's a tenuous argument to be made there that when you're destroying the property, you're affecting the employees' lives, which are members of your community.
Yeah.
But obviously the owners of the property and the leaders of the business in those big box stores are not local to you at all. Like, no one owns the Walmart building that lives in your neighborhood.
Well,
you know?
Well, to go back to Villa as like the first and I think best example of this, because there are businesses downtown that got their shit bashed in and that. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though, especially with Villa, is that it's a big, expensive, bougie store that is technically its existence is gentrifying the area more, so that the people who are protesting can't basically afford to be there in any way. Mm-hmm. They can't live there. They can't shop there. And
can't run a business there.
Yeah, or hell, the police will probably scare them off because, oh, this is too expensive an area for you to be in. Mm-hmm. And this place, too, is also a black-owned business. I guess the owner went like, hey, guys, I really wish you didn't have done that. But then again, it's like, dude, look what you're doing with this business. You sell garbage that, like, people will wear, like, I don't know, a couple times a year when they're going out. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it's situated in a big apartment complex that you and I could never fucking afford.
Yeah.
And certainly the people who are out there protesting could never fucking afford.
Yeah.
So this also goes, like I said, into the argument about gentrification, too. So it's like, am I really going to care about this place getting smashed in that none of us could afford as making it technically worse, and even the products really aren't that essential, if you want to call it that. Mm-hmm. It's not like a pharmacy or a clinic or even a grocery store.
Right.
It's a Kanye West cosplay place. Maybe Kid Cudi or Drake. And I'm sad to say, but that's a lot of businesses, even if I like them in downtown Grand Rapids, are kind of like that, whether they intend it or not. Mm-hmm. Like, I like 20 Monroe Live, for example. See a lot of great shows there, but again, just like Villa, they also set up like these huge apartments that are raising the rent everywhere else, and you can never afford it.
Yeah. A lot of that's happening here in downtown Kalamazoo. As a person who's actively looking for an apartment right now, it's kind of obscene how much the apartments in downtown Kalamazoo cost.
Yeah, and so it's people like, I don't know, think of like your uncle or your friend or this one guy you follow online who will bitch about, oh, but what about the property? What about the Target windows? Well, these places don't care about you, and they don't care about the people you love. Mm-hmm. And they probably most likely support the cops anyway, because, it's that's how they protect their business from the riffraff. Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion on property getting damaged. A lot of it is just bullshit that doesn't do the community any good. too expensive. Oh, and since they're so expensive, they got the best insurance anyway. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I guess I can understand if they torched the place, which did not happen downtown. Cop cars got torched, but none of these businesses, they just got their windows kicked in and some shit from the front stolen. Yeah, they can afford that, okay?
They can.
Alright, so to continue on to the last half, for some reason, they congregated down Fulton near Van Andel Arena, or should I say the intersection by Van Andel Arena where the parking structure is. I get down there, and, well, that's when I finally can't take it. I go down this alley, and I piss. And I'm between these two dumpsters. I'm thinking, like, oh, God, please don't shoot tear gas off.
Right, right. Don't tear gas me with my dick out.
And indeed, they did not do that. I get back out, and I'm staying in the alley, because it's pretty far away. It's the alley by the place called Backdoor Saloon, which is like this hip country western bar. You know, if you're if you're up for an evening of seeing a cover band do Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy for God knows how many times, or listen to like a chop and screwed version of Folsom Prison Blues, that's where you go on Saturday nights. So I'm standing there, and I guess at the end there they had local, state, local sheriff, and like surrounding Kent County there, like Wyoming. All those cops were there, you know, holding the line, and you know, people are jeering them, throwing water bottles and all that. And I'm standing next to this dude. He's like, "Yeah, we're safe here." Then just a barrage of tear gas, and he stood there. He's like, "Yeah, it's fine. We're far enough away." Then the smell of rotten eggs comes. He's like, "You see, we just smell it." Then it hit us like,
right, dude. If you can smell it,
yeah,
it's the gas.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I was smelling it beforehand too.
Okay.
When I was up further on Fulton and Wealthy's, and I was okay there. So I just like, eh. So I'm watching it, but then like it all hit us at once. Like, looking back on it now, it's actually kind of amazing. We all like. We weren't connected at all, obviously, but we all collectively reacted the same way, like, ah! So we all start freaking out, and we all run down the alley. And, and this is, like I said, folks, this is my very first time getting tear gassed. Would not recommend, would not want to do it.
0 out of 10.
Like, I've never felt this sensation for just burning everything. My eyes and my entire face was on fucking fire, and people were shouting, you know, "Don't rub your eyes, don't rub your eyes." And I didn't rub my eyes, but I can't believe I didn't though, because I so wanted to. Then another guy shouts, how's the gas down this fucking alley?" Which is actually a very good point, because we were relatively far away, but I guess that shows the power of how it spreads, is that even this covered alley, you know, it was just full of gas that we just seemingly could not escape. Then there's this fucking jerk-off bro next to me who kept yelling, "I heard tear gas cures the Rona." Just keeps yelling that. And at that moment, I wanted to fight him more than I did the cops. Finally, we get out there, and I kind of like stumble into like a nearby parking lot, and I then realized that the mask that I was wearing. Keep in mind, everyone, this is the first protest I've ever been to that actually encouraged you to wear a mask,
right? Because
of COVID-19. I then realized that this mask was actually keeping it in. Like, I could feel, you know, getting out of the gas, like, the rest of my face, but my nose and mouth were, like, still on fire, so I'm like, oh shit, it's keeping it in. I just dramatically rip it off, and, I had a bottle of water in my back pocket that I sipped on a little bit. I just took it out and just,
wow.
Like, I just doused my eyes and my face, and Yeah, I actually got rid of it pretty quickly.
Good.
Which is why, like, I was so glad I was far away. I got gas, but it was just like a light sprinkling, I guess you want to describe it.
You didn't get hit in the chest with one of the canisters?
Oh, God, no. And I wasn't, like, right up front, or else I think I'd be completely fucked.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, okay, you know what? It's time to go home. I can't do this anymore. And, yeah, I walked about 30 minutes to my house from downtown to Heritage Hill. Mm-hmm. I had to, I used up the rest of my bottle on my face, and yeah, I felt relatively back to normal after that. I was actually kind of amazed, I recovered from that pretty quickly.
Right? Tear gassing's not so bad.
Yeah, I don't see what the big deal was. But, so yeah, I get home, and in a stroke of genius, I put all the clothes I was wearing into a garbage bag, because I didn't want to, infect the rest of my dirty clothes I was going to get washed sometime this week. Mm-hmm. Then I took a shower, and I don't think I scrubbed myself ever that hard since I used to work at a cement plant in my hometown. Because I wanted to absolutely make sure I had everything off me.
Yeah, dude.
And there was, a moment when, I was washing my face, and, I decided to, try it out, so, rub my eyes. Felt a little burning sensation, just a little. Hit up the soap, do that again, gone.
Good.
But the night did not end there, my friend, because I left at around 11. And shortly after midnight, I'm relaxing. Which, by the way, another thing I want to note is that in comparison to, the last two protests I went to, Chicago and Lansing, surprisingly, I wasn't, depressed and bummed out after this. The last two I went to, I was just so demoralized I literally went home and went to sleep.
Yeah.
This time I didn't feel that. I was tired and that, but yeah, for something that should have demoralized me, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, man, I think this one has the ball pushed over the hill at this point.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I'm relaxing there, watching some, I don't know, Mortal Kombat playthrough thing or something. I get a call from local activist and previous guest on this show, Andy Argo. He lets me know, hey, Garret, I didn't wake you, did I? I'm like, no, I'm just chilling here. What's up? Oh, well, I'm in Grand Rapids. Wait, you're here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently, he attended the protest here, but since it ended early and peacefully, he decided, why not? So he came to Grand Rapids. And he got there around 11, literally, I was exiting the protest. He was entering it. And apparently something happened to his ride, they were non-responsive, so he was like, hey, can I, stay with you? Which I would have gladly accepted, but for a little side story here, I've been doing some major renovating in my room, and like all things, it's gotta get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Kind of like this protest in a way.
Yeah.
This protest is exactly like my room cleaning. So anyway, so I told him just what I told you. I wish, but I've been cleaning, and it's really only inhabitable to me. I can give you a ride back to Kalamazoo. Okay, let me call you a half hour. So then he did, and throughout this time, I was wondering, God, how am I going to retrieve him? Because it was still going on down there. Mm-hmm. A lot of streets were blocked off, both due to police presence and construction, of course.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, how am I going to get him out of there without getting my shit fucked? And I was thinking, oh, well, we can meet I could pick him up in front of the public library. That's probably the easiest one. Mm-hmm. He calls up, oh, Garret, I'm in front of the public library. And he's like, well, I got a better idea. How about my friend just drop me off at your house and you give me a ride back? I'm like, okay, cool. Another half hour later, does just that. And then I spent about 2 hours going to and from Kalamazoo to back Grand Rapids, drop him off. In record time, I might add.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That's
good.
My story. Story of the of my experience during the Grand Rapids uprising.
Fair enough.
It's still, well, for an aftermath so far, let's see. The Peace March claim that are totally distancing themselves from this. Mm-hmm. Claiming absolutely no responsibility. Claiming, like, oh, that wasn't us. They said that they, like, actually kept going after the first initial tear gassing. They apparently then walked to Calder Plaza, said, yay! Then they ended it. That's what they claimed. So I've been seeing this all last night and all day today so far. They planned a coordinated cleanup of downtown. Mm-hmm. You know, so that they can go sweep in front of, like, the vegan cafe or whatever. And all the while, the more disgusting one is that some of these groups, like Grand Rapids Progressives for Bernie, fuck you, are putting out pictures of people, say, smashing windows, saying, do you know this person? Help us identify them.
Yeah.
It's like, God, fuck you, you know? I can understand, again, peaceful protesting and not wanting to go that far. Mm-hmm. I have my limits. Like, I stood there, I watched, and I took pictures. I didn't, like, bring a sign. I didn't do any vandalism. Mm-hmm. I swear, GRPD, I did not do anything. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. Don't do that shit, because you're honestly collaborating with cops now and trying to get them on your side, mm-hmm. which will not work. It's kind of like the Reopen Michigan people, the militiamen. You know, they'll cuddle up to the cops. You know, they're like, oh, you see, they're on our side. We're friends. We do this type of protest, and they're okay with it. Mm-hmm. But it's all a lie. They'll just control you that way.
Yeah.
And the first time that you fuck up, or if you speak up against them, they will cave your fucking face in.
Plus, all those militia guys, I don't want to generalize by saying all those militia guys, but many of those militia guys are exactly the type of, like, they're police officers.
Oh yeah, many of them are.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they are. Like, when they say, what is it? I heard someone, or maybe read someone post, they said, like, the reason that cops don't have to attend, like, that cops don't have to police KKK rallies is because they are the KKK,
yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, cops and Klan go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, and before I picked up Andy last night, I watched a local Fox News affiliate stream about it, and these fucking hosts, they're just acting like all sad and, you know, it's terrible, this destruction downtown. Look at these people. Even more cryptic. It's like, you know, whatever his co-host name. You know, John, you know, we got this footage of some of these people, some of them not wearing masks, and we'll keep playing it in following days as more news comes in. And, you know, if you're one of the people committing these crimes, you may get spotted and arrested. So, yeah, that's great. A local news affiliate is saying that they're going to help you get arrested. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, actual journalists are getting arrested on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. Like, as a former journalist, I can understand, like, taking pictures and video. Because their whole thing in protesting, when it comes to protests, saying, like, hey, don't take pictures of these people doing this, or if they're wearing that. Because I understand. Mm-hmm. But if you're a journalist, yeah, you can do that because you're there to get the story.
Yeah.
What you shouldn't do, though, is say that your footage, your work, is going to be used to help arrest people.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
I mean, it'll probably happen by proxy, yeah, but you shouldn't have a fucking hand in doing it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So, yeah, that's my story of the uprising. As I told you earlier, texted my mom saying, hey, I'm in Kalamazoo right now, I'll talk to you later tonight. She wrote back, can't talk to you today. Not today. Which I'm like, well, that bodes well for later in the week.
What if she's just really tired?
I guess so, or something possibly happened, like with my grandmother or something. Mm-hmm. But considering our past arguments, especially with political stuff. And she does not like my anti-cop views, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun later this week. We'll probably have an epic argument and then not speak to each other for nearly a month.
What a shame.
Yeah.
What a... I mean, that's just... There's probably thousands of people just like that around,
yeah.
you know?
Plus, even if you disagree, you think your kid being in the middle of a riot and even saying that he got partially tear gas would worry you enough that you might want to call.
Yeah. If my mom found out I got tear gas, she'd be there when she's like, "Oh, I'll drive up there. Like, I'll bring you napkin, like whatever you need." Like, that's what she'd be like. She would just immediately go into nurse mode.
Oh, lucky you. My mom has said in the past of other things, pretty much, yeah, if you do this, you fucking deserve it.
Wow.
Which will be in strict contrast to my father, surprisingly, who would want to help in some way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'll update that for another podcast where I bitch about my familial ties. Dude, you want to take a break here quickly?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
All right, folks. Those were our stories. We'll be right back and probably talk about some lighter shit.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, we're back.
Yo.
Somewhat lighter topic time.
Yeah.
And folks, I hope you enjoyed that swishing sound you heard because as of the 2 previous episodes where I interviewed previous guests about their life during this COVID pandemic, I went on to like a website that has like free sounds that you can use, and I found basically a transition sound, just this, which is perfect. Because I do like to use songs in this podcast, honestly, but I've kind of used up my well of them, so I have to start asking more artists again. And one of the reasons I have is because I would use middle songs, which again, cool, but you gotta ask more people and search out more songs, which is fun unless you got other shit going on. And
Yeah.
The funniest thing that when I looked up this I think it was from like freesounds.org or some shit. I was reading like his things that if you want to use this for free, you must abide by.
Yeah, the licensing.
Yeah, and it's like, use it for whatever, but, don't try to sell it off as your own. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyone can use it. Okay, cool. But at the end of it, it says, this sound will not be used for social engineering purposes. Which I kind of was familiar with that, but then I looked it up, and social engineering is for, like, shit like torture and brainwashing by the government. Yeah,
the way that I've brushed up against social engineering was always in the hacking context, where like you would call up the network administrator of a large company and try to like get their info by like acting as if you were a member of the company and you had like forgotten your login and password. And so that's what I knew social engineering as, but also, I think like thought manipulation and stuff by the government is referred to as social engineering as well.
Yeah, so like this 3-second whooshing sound, I guess this guy's afraid that the government is going to use it to brainwash people. And holy shit, I should have checked this beforehand. Folks, we will be right back again because I got to change the fucking battery.
You get a second whoosh.
Yep. Here we go. All right, round 2, fresh battery. We're back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get on to that lighter topic that we've been discussing. We're still in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah, the lighter topic.
Yeah, dude. We
are.
Yeah, actually, when you and I last talked, it's pretty much just beginning here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it's been over 2 months now. We're just about to enter June. How's it been for you?
Well, I think I ended up, like my job got eliminated about 2 weeks after we talked, maybe a week after we talked, maybe just a couple of days after we talked, which I honestly didn't expect to happen until I heard the stay-at-home order for the executive order 2020-21 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so things got interesting for me financially there for a minute, and definitely psychologically. Going from working 100+ hours a week to basically not being able to work and not getting paid, but still all day long people would call me and be like, when do you think you're going to be able to start taking photos again? And it'd be like, well, I don't know. Do you possess the ability to predict the future? And so people would just the original order was supposed to end on April 13th. And when that came out, when that was clarified, then I got maybe 30 or 40 phone calls that day to schedule for April 13th. And then obviously at the end of in midweek of the previous week, April 16th or April 6th or whatever that Monday was, I think it was extended. And then everybody called me again, well, we're going to have to cancel. I'm like, yeah, no, really, you think we're going to have to cancel? I'm like, dude.
Big surprise.
And eventually I finally got smart enough to be look, we're not, I'm going to take down your information, but, look, this, we don't know when this is going to stop. We don't know when it's over. Once I get official, an official stance from the company on when I can get started, I will give you a call, right? Well, it ended up being, my call list was, 85 people. And then we started May 7th, and I'm just going to talk about work at first, but, we start May 7th, so on May 4th or May 5th, I got all those same 85 phone calls, plus all of the new stuff. So I had, 30 canceled appointments that I had to follow up on, and then I had about 45 new requests, and then I had maybe 40 or 50 requests that had been just people texting me hey, here are the properties that I'm going to want photographed, and here's the videos that I need ordered up, and here's where I need you to go fly the drone, and here's what I can give you in South Haven, here's what I can give you in Grand Rapids, here's what I can give you in Battle Creek, and then of course every single one of them wanted me to shoot it on May 7th, and it's impossible. I can't be in 6 cities every day. So I did Kalamazoo Portage on my first day back, and then I did Richland on my second, and then I did West, Pawpaw, Mattawan, and then North, Plainwell, Otsego, Allegan, Shelbyville, Grand Rapids. Then I did South, Schoolcraft, where else did I go? Constantine, Three Rivers, and that's pretty much the extent of my regular area. So it took me about 2 weeks to get caught up with everything. I shot maybe 50 properties, because another thing, they would put in the request, but then because everybody's been at home for so long, the homes weren't ready, so I would get cancellations. And then since the market opened up in a burst and not in a graduated fashion, so many of the properties sold before I could get out there to photograph them. So people would just cancel on me. I'd get canceled. I'd show up, and there would be someone touring the house, and then they would be like, well, I was here first. And it's yeah, but I had an appointment. You guys are scumbags, right? And so then they'd sell the house, and I just would not get paid for showing up, which was frustrating. But, I guess to talk about the virus specifically, my family made it through. Kalamazoo County did not have very much COVID-19 at all. There were very, very, very few deaths. I think less than 10. I'm speaking completely out of some location between my sphincter and my lower intestine there, to pulling it straight from my asshole, because I don't know the numbers.
Oh.
If you'd like to fact check young Jamie.
Pull that off. All right. I'll just look it up here. Let's see. Kalamazoo.
Let me guess before you say it. So my official guess here, I think it was 86 cases, 5 deaths. That's what I remember seeing.
All right, let's see.
You need a sound effect for looking up stuff on your phone.
Yeah, I should. Or we could give the audience the wonderful sounds of silence.
I could play my electronic drums.
In the corner stands a boxer, a fighter by his trade. I think that song's on that album, Simon Garfunkel's Sounds of Silence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. God, load. Load. Actually, load, not like the shitty Metallica albums load.
You know, man, Load stands up in retrospect. It was garbage at the time. Hot garbage. But that's a pretty fucking good rock and roll album. It's not a good Metallica album, but it's a good rock and roll album.
Good hard rock album.
Yeah.
And Reload.
I don't like that one.
Well, I'm thinking like, let's see. Honestly, there's, The Memory Remains.
Na, 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 na.
And the memory remains.
That video came out, 1998, and they're, swinging on a swing with Marianne Faithfull. It was weird as hell.
Faded prima donna. Yeah.
Oh, James
Hetfield. I also like Hero of the Day. I really do like that.
That was
song.
a good tune. Definitely.
All right, here we go. COVID-19 statistics as of 3 p.m. today. Positive cases, 846.
Oh!
Hospitalized, 120. Recovered, 947. Total deaths, 55.
In Kalamazoo?
Yeah.
Kalamazoo County?
Yep, Kalamazoo County.
So I'm way off, okay? So there's 1,000 people.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you were right.
It's 10 times what I was thinking.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you were right, then we wouldn't have that many dead people.
Yeah, well, who knows when the last time I looked was.
So, okay, so it hasn't affected your family, thank God?
Yeah, it has not. People, jobs were lost and then regained and, the house has been a little cramped. But, yeah, we made it through, man. We were fine. My dad and my brother both work for a business that was considered essential, so they didn't have any disruptions in their employment. My youngest brother my middle brother works as a night stalker, so he was considered essential. And that brother's girlfriend is an essential worker, and then the younger brother's girlfriend lost her job, but was able to get unemployment. So financially, we were all able to stay secure. I was able to pick up a very little bit, enough work to grease the wheels long enough for me to get back to work, and I had some savings and stuff, so I ended up being okay as well.
What about financial assistance? Were you able to get any from the government?
So that's why I was saying earlier it was a little dire at first, because of course I applied for everything. When I got the notification on a Monday afternoon that our work was canceling, and I was working while it got shut down, right? And so that night, I applied for unemployment. I applied for the SBA disaster loan, or maybe not that night, but as soon as those portals were available, I signed up for all of it, for unemployment, for SBA disaster loan, for the Paycheck Protection Program, and I think that's all I applied for. But of course, my unemployment got denied. Didn't get any response whatsoever from the SBA, and then there was something. Oh, the economic stimulus check.
Yeah, the Trump socialist check.
The Trump socialist check. Even though the government has my direct deposit information, those who pay taxes had the checks mailed to them, not direct deposited. So I got the check 2 weeks ago. But I did get it. And then last week I got the SBA loan. So I did get that. And then I want to say like April 25th or 26th, my unemployment claim went through. So I was able to claim the time that I was not working and get a little bit of money for that too. So yes, I did get some financial assistance, and I'm happy that I got it, because otherwise I would have been fucked from here to Timbuktu in terms of debt. So I was able to take care of myself, thankfully.
All right, let's get to the real fun part of this conversation. How's your dealings been with like the yuppie people that you have to take pictures for?
It's been incredibly frustrating. Yeah, I wear a mask every time. About the first week I was wearing gloves, but it turns out it's really difficult for me. Like, I use touch focus on my computer, on my phone. Oh wow, I can't speak. I use touch focus on my camera. So I have a live view, like I can see on the little screen everything that the lens sees, and I touch it to focus. And so when I wear gloves, it'll focus okay, but it doesn't work all the time. And plus I have to be kind of like flipping on light switches and stuff. And I realized, like, I'm shooting 6-7 houses a day, touching everybody's light switches with the same gloves. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm just going to get a gallon of freaking hand sanitizer and lotion and just hand sand it like madly every time I go anywhere or touch anything. I just smother myself with hand sanitizer, right? But I would say maybe 10% of the people that I'm encountering in their own homes are wearing a mask while I'm there. They sign paperwork to not be there, but they show up anyway. Like I was telling you earlier, I had someone actually like cough onto my camera, and I like
Korean Karen.
Yeah, but her being Korean has nothing to do with her coughing on me. But yes, to describe, she was like a 16-year-old Korean girl.
Not at all. But no, just the attitude.
Yes,
and we note that because when we think of Karen, we think of middle-aged white blonde women.
Yes, we do. Yeah, but the mentality was very Karen-like, and it was basically like, I want to see these photos before you go, just to make sure that I didn't do a shitty job or whatever. And it's like, I photograph anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 properties a year. I know what I'm doing, right? Like, we're the most successful real estate brokerage for last year in Southwest Michigan. Like, do you think they're not going to hire someone who knows what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just comply, you know? That's just my nature, especially as a professional. Like, I want to openly exchange information and stuff. So, like, if they want to review the photos, I'm okay with that. But in this instance, she was standing right next to me as we're looking at these photos on my tiny little camera screen. And so she coughs, doesn't cover her mouth, and I just watch slowly as a piece of spittle just flies from her coughing mouth and lands right in the middle of my touchscreen. And I was just like, yeah, it's time to go. And she kind of like looked at me watching her, and was just like, okay, I think I've seen enough. I'm like, yeah, I think you've seen enough too. And so I split out of there real quick and fucking scrubbed the back of my camera with a alcohol wipe and stuff.
Well, didn't you say that some of these clients have a negative, cavalier attitude towards this pandemic anyway?
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, I definitely got ridiculed for wearing a mask. Like, one guy opened the door and he goes, you know that's not going to do anything, right? Like, I'm a medical professional, and those masks don't do anything. And I was like, dude, if you're a medical professional, you know that they do, in fact, do something. Like, you're obviously like a transcriptionist or something. Like, you're no fucking doctor if you're saying that shit to me.
Oh, dude, like, this picture's been going around online, but it had like some woman dressed up in like typical scrubs you would see a nurse wearing, pulling a sign that says like Rioting, nurses for reopening or something.
Mm-hmm.
They like zoomed in on like her tag and it just said NP on it, like handwritten NP.
Yep. Yeah, it was you could buy that shit at Goodwill.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so anytime you hear like a medical professional act like that, they're probably fake.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if I was an asshole, or if I cared enough to spend one more minute in that house than I needed to do my job, I would have probably been a dick and asked him to see his fucking degree. Like, let's see your license. Let's see your license to practice medicine, medical professional. Like, dude, you're a dingus.
Yeah, which, by the way, like, is there any time that you could just say, fuck it, I'm not helping you if someone, like, disrespects you enough? Or
I got chased with a baseball bat once and left.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, so here's the situation, right?
Yeah, how have you not talked about this on a podcast?
Dude, I could talk about bullshit that's happened to me showing up to strangers' homes all fucking day if you want.
Okay, well,
here's this one.
Yeah, let's just go with this one.
Here's this one. So it was an occupied property, meaning the owner of the home rented the home to a renter, and the property owner wanted to list the home for sale. Informed the renter, the occupant of the home, that I was going to be there at a certain time. Well, this individual lives with her mother and pays the rent and everything. Like, she's the one that pays the rent. Her mom lives with her. Not the mom pays the rent and she's living with her mom. Like, mom moved in, right? Mom moved into the rental house. And so mom was there. Didn't know I was coming because daughter didn't tell her that I was going to be there. So I have access to all their lock boxes, right? If there's a lockbox, the realtor's lock boxes, I have a code on my phone. I can zap into it via Bluetooth, open it up, and I have access to the keys. So I was told no one was going to be there, okay? And I always knock if someone tells me that no one's going to be there, because shit like this happens to me. So I knock. Knock again, because I got a feeling there's someone in this house. Like, there was a car in the driveway and there wasn't supposed to be, but it was like run down and looked like it might not be working. So I'm like, man, I don't know what this situation is. And it was like an 800 square foot house. It would have taken me like 20 minutes tops, right? So I'm like, here it comes, man. So I put the key in the door, and the door flies open, and here's this woman wearing a towel and a shower cap with a Louisville Slugger in her hand, runs out screaming, "Who the fuck do you think you are coming into my fucking house, blah, 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 blah," running around her backyard in a towel with a baseball bat. Meanwhile, I'm like holding my camera on the tripod, right? Like running away from her. And so I stood out front of the house, and she's standing in the front yard screaming at me, "You better leave, you better leave." And so I'm like, I'm fucking out of here.
Cue the Benny Hill music.
Oh, dude, this one just continues. So I get in my car, throw a camera in the car, get in the car, lock the door, ride down the street, call the agent, and I'm like, what in the actual fuck, dude? Like, I just got chased around by a naked woman with a fucking baseball bat. Like, how dare you send me into this situation? Like, how dare you? And she's like, "Oh my God, Zach, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Like, let's find out what happened." So I get off the phone, and this woman has followed me to where I stopped. And she goes, still, "You are not leaving. You are taking your pictures, because I'm not dealing with this shit again." And I'm like, wait a second.
Still in the towel.
Yep, still in the towel.
So she followed you dressed
through the neighborhood. Yep.
Oh my God.
And now she's threatening me because I'm leaving, right? So I fucking went back, and I just, like, normally I would, like, very calmly set up all my shots, and, like, I didn't even put the camera on the tripod. I just walked through and went click, 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 one shot per room. I was there for less than 5 minutes, and I called him back, and I was like, never again. Never again. If this happens again, I'm driving and I'm calling the police. Like, you don't send me somewhere and tell me that it's vacant and give me access to your key box only to be fucking attacked by someone with a baseball bat. Like, they need to know that I'm coming. You know? And like, I don't have any contact information for these people, right? It was all set up through the realtor. Like, I get a request via email, and then I respond to the agent via text message. Like, I had never even spoke to any of these people. It was like, Zach's going to be there at 2 p.m. Make sure the dog's gone, the cat box isn't out in the living room, like, make sure there's no, like, used condoms on the floor or whatever. So I'm walking through this house, and there's, like, rotting food on dishes, and, like, fucking underwear hanging on the door of the shower, and, like, just shit everywhere. Like, actively being made meal on the stove.
Were you at Kalamazoo house menu?
That's funny. No, it was just a house in Portage. It was like 800 square foot, small single family home, probably 2-bedroom, you know, and like that's the bread and butter of my business. Like I'll go shoot an 800 square foot house in 20 minutes, dude. I'm like I can do that in a heartbeat.
Well, let's be objective here. The real question that needs to be asked: the woman with the baseball bat, was she objectively hot?
She was objectively not hot.
Okay. I mean, I can understand like being drunk or on drugs or suffering from mental illness.
She looked a lot like Oprah Winfrey with more gray hair, and like it was like, you know, wet because she had a shower cap on, but it was like one of the like opaque vinyl blue and white like floral shower caps. Like it was weird. It was very messed up. It was a messed up situation. Oprah Winfrey chased me with a baseball bat.
You're probably not allowed to like carry a weapon on yourself, right?
No, I'm not. I mean, well,
not even like a pepper spray or a pocket knife or anything.
I don't. You know, I don't. And honestly, we've never really discussed it. I just basically make the general assumption that people don't want me to have weapons in their home, you know. And also, I try to be as non-threatening as possible. Like, I'm a stranger in their home, and my job is to wander around from room to room alone, right?
Well, that's kind of the thing with pepper spray and pocket knives is that you hide it until you need it. You know, it's not like you have to. I know there's some people that have like straps for this shit, but you don't have to like open carry your pepper spray.
Yeah, I know. Of course I don't. And I suppose maybe it would be a good idea to do. I've had guns pulled on me as well. Same situation, renters. You know, the renters haven't been informed because there's a breakdown in communication, and I show up and there's a gun in my face. And, like, it's not the first time in my life a gun's been in my face. So I usually just look at it and go, like, is that necessary? And that pretty much
You're
disarms
just so
the situation.
bored at this point of having fucking gun.
No, it's more like, I don't know why. Like, for me, dude, I get super emotional and hyped up about stuff often, but, like, if things are dire serious, I have the ability to, like, have 100% clarity. Like, my emotions do not muddle with that shit. Like, when I'm facing life and death, I fucking know what the shit is going on. Yeah. And that's like, immediate.
I'm here to take your pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that desert eagle out of my face.
Yeah, dude, come on, guy. Like, is the hardware really necessary? That's what I said at the last time that happened. Is the hardware really necessary? Who are you? I'm the photographer that showed up exactly on time. My name is Zach. It says that on my fucking Jeep.
Yeah, like, the sawed-off shotgun is not necessary.
Yeah, nothing like that. Always pistols.
All right. Yeah. All right, so, yeah, you've been doing pretty good, I guess pretty good now during this pandemic.
Considering the circumstances, I'm doing fine, man. Much better than many people around the fucking country right now.
Much better than back in March when we last talked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Things were very uncertain then.
Yep. Okay, well, to me now.
Yeah.
My day job at the warehouse is essential, thus I still have my job. And people are allowed to take time off whether they feel, because if they feel like it, and they can file for unemployment. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, the multi-trillion-dollar corporation I work for actively encourages you to go on unemployment. Because, it's just like Walmart in a way. How they make all this money that they could take care of their employees, no problem, but they still pay enough wages and not enough, benefits that they have to go on food stamps even.
Yeah.
Same fucking model.
Yeah.
So people have taken time off because they don't want to get affected. They don't want to affect their family. When they finally made masks mandatory, some people took time off because they didn't want to wear a mask for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And just in general, they don't think the warehouse and the company is being effective enough in protecting us, the employees. Which is true to an extent, which I'll get to. So at my warehouse, we've had about 3 confirmed cases of COVID. And a few others. The first one is this awful woman I work with, pure Trump-tard, and she's a Jeff Dunham fangirl.
Is that the puppet guy?
Yeah, the puppet guy with the racist puppets.
Okay.
That's all you need to know about this woman. Yeah, she spent about 2 weeks at home because she had COVID symptoms. But it turns out she didn't have it. But then when she came back, it was just all, I experienced it, you don't want it, I know, just making herself out be this self-made expert now.
Ugh.
Yeah, she's also a cancer survivor, and she's made a deal about that, about how she's this big authority, pay attention to me. Mm-hmm. Actually, we very much dislike her for various reasons. And here's the train to come in, rounding around the track.
We can't miss any of these noises.
Quality podcasting. You will not get this on the Joe Rogan experience.
No, you won't. In a purpose-built building that was worth millions of dollars.
Yeah, but, and we disliked her so much that I made a meme about her when we found out that she took time off. You know that meme was from like Predator, I think, where like the hands are clasped together? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did one of that with like one hand said COVID-19, the other one said cancer, then in the middle it says fucking her shit up. My friends very much were like, ooh, savage, Garret. So rude. Have you no humanity?
Oh, man.
But yeah, she came back, and unfortunately. Okay, then we had another case with a guy that we're still speculating on. And this is a big thing at our warehouse, is that everyone wants to feel safe. So the way they gotta do is find out who it is, then talk shit and harass the fuck out of them for, getting it. Mm-hmm. And, of course, management is not telling who it is because, privacy, which is a good thing, but we're all getting pissed, they're all getting pissed, these fucking losers I work with. Like, oh, we don't know who it is, though. They're putting us in danger. Like, well, what are you going to do? When they come back, tell them to fuck off,
right?
And that, you're a piece of shit for catching this or something.
Yeah, dude. It's your fault for being susceptible to a virus that anybody is susceptible to.
Yeah.
Come on.
The second one who caught it is this guy from the Sudan that we work with. And the irony in this is that he was like, when the first case came up, he was really trying to find out who it is. And he was like trying to trick management into telling who it is. Like, he would say like, okay, so you said this person works out on the main floor. I work in the pharmaceutical department, which is separate from the rest of the building. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, he did. There's no danger here in the pharmaceuticals. Well, can you tell us which ride they were on, so we don't go on that ride and possibly get infected? Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, we know what you're doing here because each ride is assigned to a person. Mm-hmm. That's how you're going to find out who it fucking is. Fuck you, stop.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't you just determine that by who doesn't show up?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, but it's still guesswork.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? He later gets infected. Some way. There you go, poetic justice. Mm. In the latest case, I guess we're not sure yet, but this guy we work with, his housemates gets it, so he has to then quarantine because they assume that he probably has it. here's the beauty of it, though. He gets the test, says he does not have it, but then the warehouse says, oh, well, you still have to quarantine because you live with this person who has it, but since you don't have it, we don't have to pay you for the time off. Yep.
That's some asshole shit, dude.
Yep, so he's been angry about it, contacting the union and all that.
All of those situations are going to boil up soon, man. Like, after all the dust is settled with this, and people get a chance to look back on the time and see who got fucked and who didn't, and who made a bunch of money and who didn't, things are going to change dramatically, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing I'm hoping is that we'll change the way that we go about with people being sick. Because if you get sick with, like, the flu or a cold or whatever, yeah, you can take time off, but, like, if you call in, you're still going to get, like, a point for calling in sick. And even then, that's determined by management. Like, some manager would be like, oh, hey, I'm sick, here's my doctor's note saying da-da-da. Okay, good, we'll take that off. Some of them, yeah, I don't care, go to work. You still got that point. Yeah. Take the L. But I'm hoping this will change in the future, because there's been times during past winters that I've been sick to some extent.
As a restaurant employee, I would go to work sick until I was so dysfunctional because of my illness that I got sent home by people. Yeah. It was very much encouraged when I was in restaurants to come to work sick.
Well, did you get penalized for it, though?
For what, leaving?
Yeah.
Oh, you just wouldn't get paid?
Oh, well, that's it. Well, that's with my place, though. Not only would you lose hours, you would get penalized, and eventually those build up, and it reaches a point you get fired.
Well, so that's what you mean by a point? Like, it's like a demerit point against you getting fired?
Yeah, we have two different types of points. One with rate, like you gotta keep 95% or higher. Then there's just general, like if you call in or if you're late or whatever. Mm-hmm. The only things that can like really get you canned like instantly are like if you're stealing or if you attack someone or something. Basically criminal shit.
Right. And now here's how you frame that. If you show up to work sick, you're attacking someone.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, because again, our last podcast, I talked a little bit about it. I went to Toronto for the weekend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did not tell anyone at all except for like my two close friends. You know, I told them like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Don't tell them that I went somewhere. Because I didn't isolate technically because I would lose money. I would be afraid that if they found out, they would do what you just said. Schuelke, you didn't self-isolate. You put us in trouble. You put us in danger. We're going to have to fire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's the thing. They've made this there's already kind of was a culture of fear at the warehouse because that's how you keep people in line at the warehouse. Mm. You know, like they're going to do this or they're going to do that. And you're getting fired for this and that. It's been more so that now because, you know, they basically made it so that you can't go any place, you can't do this or that, or else you'll have to self-isolate. And if you lie, you probably get in more trouble. So most of it is just like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Don't tell them anything. Don't tell them you went anywhere. Don't tell them you saw anyone. Just answer no to everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, okay, so we've had these cases, and there's basically no way to keep the 6-foot rule at this warehouse. Especially in some of the places with higher traffic, like the mods, which are just like these little spaces that we all collect stuff in with a track in the middle.
Okay.
And of course G, which can get filled up to the brim. Yeah, there's basically no way to do it. So so the whole time it's like, okay, wear the mask, try to stay away from people. The only good thing that's kind of come out of this, but it depends on person to person, is they're not really counting rate right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're doing it to some people that they target, because, you know, management, of course, you got to do that. Yeah, they made it so that to some of them, like, I guess myself, who's a generally good worker, doesn't argue unless they have to, kind of getting away with not making rate because we're trying to keep our distance from people, and you can't keep 95% or higher doing that. Mm-hmm. And if they do try to get you in trouble, union up and grieve it. And you'll probably win, too, because we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Exactly, and you have a bunch of extra rules that you have to follow now because of it, too.
Yep. And there's been controversy about them bringing contractors and more so scabs, as we call them, which are basically these another form of contractor that are all just random. Because we don't think they're being tested like we are. And just the fact that they're outsiders, does bring in more danger.
It does.
Yep, we've had some doozies, like, we've had this one dude who, giant fat ass. I mean, I am going to harp on this as a heterosexual man. He had a large ass. If he was a woman at a nightclub, he'd be the hottest one in there. And he basically had this big fat ass, and that you inevitably rubbed up against when you try to go around him. And he kind of had like a hunchback look to him. Like he stood like, and folks, if you ever seen like a picture of Donald Trump, he kind of like leans forward like he's a centaur, or if he's like the commander on a ship or something. Mm-hmm. That's what this guy is doing. So like ass up, and like the up top half is like pushing forward, and has the most epic lazy eye I think I've ever seen. And he's basically a very poor person you should feel empathy towards. Mm-hmm. And I probably shouldn't be joking about this guy's appearance, but this is how I cope with this terrible stuff. Mm-hmm.
Gotta find a little humor where it is.
I think there's a comedic term for that. I think it's like shooting down or something, which is a big controversy there too, because like, well, you shouldn't make fun of these people, but make fun of these people instead. Mm-hmm. Oh god, I don't want to get into that. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're trying to work around this guy, and we're dealing with these deformities about him. And the big thing that did piss us off is that he would do these epic coughs. Did not cover up. And it kind of looked like he was dying when he would do it. Ugh. Like, you would, like, pass by him and be like, excuse me, sorry. You would pass by him. His ass would, like, rub your stomach and chest. Ugh. Then when you get by him and start selecting, you just hear... and look over, he's just bent over, just coughing. It's like, holy fuck, dude. And he kept doing that the rest of the day. People are complaining, because they should. Last time I saw him, he was blocking everyone on the steps with his coughing fit. So we had to like go to break while he's just spewing whatever. He's wearing a mask too, but I don't think it protected us from it.
If you're coughing that violently, it escapes out of the sides of it.
Yeah. So then I guess he eventually got sent home because he was straight up puking. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him. And we haven't seen him since, thank God.
Ugh. Yeah, my dad was telling me he had to interview a guy. Sounds exactly as you were describing. Like, not just a fat guy. Like horrible health, like falling apart human that just has absolutely no regard whatsoever for his own body in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. I mean... We're thick.
Yeah, I'm not a skinny man.
We're thick, swolly boys.
Yeah, I'm not a skinny man.
Not like morbidly obese, sitting in a mobility scooter.
Right, and I think that's my dad also not a small man, but he like hearing it described from him, like my dad's always very, very cautious to give people all the respect that they're due, but you could tell he was really irked by this guy because it was like, they work in a factory, there's all sorts of safety hazards, like there's chemicals, dangerous chemicals, hot ovens that are 1,000+ degrees, like there's all sorts of shit that can kill you inside that building. So like you have to be able to keep your wits about you, you have to be able to like, go through the day without like fucking passing out from exhaustion, you know? So, like, there's a bare minimum physical requirement for doing the job. Basically, you need to be able to walk from one end of the building to the other several times a day and maybe carry some stuff. Very, you know, it's not a lot of work, meaning, like, it's not a lot of manual labor. But they're hiring people because now work is getting back up. So this guy was interviewing, and it's, well, I can't make the interview on Wednesday because I have a doctor's appointment. And my dad's telling me he can hear the guy wheezing, you know, like breathing heavy.
Be honest, too, I have listened to past episodes of this podcast and that. You can kind of hear me doing like, hi, folks. I'm Garret Schuelke podcast.
Not a very big difference, man. You don't do it after every sentence, and it's not like a death rattle type wheeze. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same big gigantic ass that just is in the way.
Dude, that would be the best episode of this podcast if you hear my death rattle. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Garret Schuelke podcast.
So anyway, though, this guy, I guess, like, had to cancel the interview like 4 or 5 times because of a doctor's appointment, and then called in sick his first trial day, and just was like, after all, like, they were willing to even like work around his medical conditions, right? Like, they're being fair employers. Like, okay, well, if you've got the skills, like, if you're unhealthy, like, we'll work on that. You know, there's quality health insurance here. We'll get you set up with a doctor. You'll be able to go to your appointments. Like, it's not a big deal. We all get sick. Like, we all have to go to appointments. You know, my dad has survived cancer twice. He knows all about having to go to fucking doctor's appointments during the working day, right? He is very sympathetic to this. And so he gave the guy a chance, and the fucking guy calls in on his first day. Oh, I have a doctor's appointment. I'm sick. And my dad's just like, dude, no. Like, you don't get to call in sick on your first day when we've already given you leeway for your medical situation. Like, sorry, you can't work here, man. You know? And I feel like a lot of times, where does that guy go? To a place that is always in need of people. Right? And that's a perfect situation for Meyer. Like, here's some shitbag that no one wants to hire. We'll hire him, pay him half of what our union employees make, and, you know, it's a disposable employee. And then you guys have to deal with this garbage human that can't take care of himself, fucking disgusting slob, can't self-police enough to not hack and cough all over people. It's a shit.
Or the sense of, like, yeah, even coming in.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they say is, like, if you're feeling sick, do not come in. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
To varying degrees, but at least they're saying, like, don't come in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the baseline sensible reaction. It's like, if we're open and there's a pandemic and you catch the virus that is causing the pandemic, or you exhibit any symptoms whatsoever that you might possibly have it. And, of course, back then there wasn't, you know, rapid testing. There wasn't availability of testing. It was, everything just happened all at once. You know, day after day after day. You're watching the news and it's fucking 1,000 deaths, 1,000 more. You know, you're like, what in the fuck is going on right now? It was fucking terrifying. You know, I mean, just objectively, it was fucking scary. You know, and you know, there's all these veins of thought where it's, you know, a manipulation of the numbers to make it look worse than it is, and like all that
radio
stuff.
waves.
Yeah, or a 5G.
Did you see Plandemic?
I did not. No.
No, I haven't yet either. Like, I'm gonna inevitably watch it. You know, I heard it's fucking garbage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one of those things that, like, you can't really say it's a like false flag thing. You know, like, it just doesn't. That doesn't parse for me. Like, when like world leaders started getting it, like Justin Trudeau's wife had it, and Boris Johnson had it. There was like members of the Michigan State Congress died.
And Johnson somehow fucking survived. So.
Yeah, I know that was that guy seemed like a mess. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, the ability to plausibly deny it is pretty loose footing. Like there's not much there.
Well, don't you know this is a man-made technovirus by the Democrats, made in China to screw over Trump's re-election campaign,
and it'll magically disappear in November.
Yep, which by the way, somehow fucking over his campaign involves killing thousands of people worldwide.
Yeah. And actively denying that it was happening while it was happening. Like, if you see those, like, mega edits, like, where it's, like, a bunch of clips of him and it's, like, February 8th. Oh, this is a hoax. This virus is a hoax. February 12th. Well, we've got one person that has it in Seattle, folks. It's going to be gone soon. And then just escalate.
Which then Trump tried to sue the people putting up the ad.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another thing if you've been paying attention this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he signed an executive order, tried to basically destroy Twitter.
Yep. That's not going to go over well for him.
Then he made some nice tweets saying, once the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Mm-hmm.
Or, as of last night, since they were surrounding the White House, claiming, these protesters are going to be sorry when we unleash all these dogs and unimaginable weapons on them.
Yeah, wow. Yep, that's not what you want to be saying right
there
now.
You go.
You're pouring gas on a fire doing that shit.
Well, the thing about it, this is the President of the United States.
Yep.
Saying he's going to sick dogs on people.
What a statesman. Yeah. Gross.
I'm sorry, but looking back at shitty presidents, most of all Republican, as much as I fucking hate George W. Bush, and I hate the liberals who are trying to, put him up as a new fucking hero. Yeah, Bush would not have done that on Twitter, okay?
No, dude. No. Look, so here, this comes, just as you said, Bush is back in the news, right?
Yeah.
Because,
he's against Trump, which means he's woke, which means that all the death and destruction he's caused, all the destruction of the economy, all the repressive orders such as the Patriot Act, it's all good now.
Do you remember as Bush was leaving office, one of the major sound bites was that he said, "I will be vindicated by history." Once enough time has gone from my presidency, people will realize that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He made the quote that he will be vindicated by history, and I think it's actually pretty accurate because, dude, Bush was a shitbag, war criminal, fucking warmonger.
He's a fucking monster.
Yeah, I am not a Bush apologist, and fuck the entire Bush family. But that fact notwithstanding, compared to where we are now, Bush is kind of I would take George Bush back over Donald Trump. Yes.
I would not go that far, but
over Trump, I would.
God, if I had to choose, God damn it. Well, the big thing is that Trump is just such a fucking egotistical moron that he that's the thing. Bush is the same way, but he's got more sense about him than to say, "Woohoo, dead terrorists, awesome."
Yeah, exactly. He's not dancing on the graves of Katrina victims and calling them, calling them degenerates.
Yeah,
he actually made a concerted effort to look like a statesman.
Yeah,
he failed miserably often.
Oh yeah,
but he made the effort, and what you see from Trump is just combative. Man, it's just combative.
Well, that's the thing too. Is that Bush was nationalistic, obviously patriotic, especially after 9/11. America, fuck yeah. And
I lived through it. I remember it.
We all
yeah, we did. We
did. And despite Trump saying otherwise, it's about him. He runs a fucking cult.
Yeah.
And that's probably one reason why he's probably going to win in November, aside from Joe fucking Biden.
I don't know, dude. Here's the thing, though. If you think about what's happened to us from the end of March to the end of May, we still got months to go until November.
I know, but it's just so But
he's got a lot of pie on his face right now.
I know.
And blood on his hands.
I know, but his cult is just so strong that that's just the only thing that I could really see him maybe not losing is if we do go into like a full dark recession, Great Depression.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he will just make shit up. He will throw shit to his crowd like he is now.
Yeah.
He'll act like the big tough guy that they all admire, unleash the dogs.
And then take credit for every positive thing that happens afterwards.
You see, they're peace in Minneapolis now? Yep, I did that. Remember, once the looting starts, the shooting starts. I did that.
Yeah. I'm hoping people can start seeing through that stuff a little easier now, man.
Yeah.
Like, even, honestly, dude, I was willing to give Trump a shot, He got elected president of the United States. He ran businesses. You can say what you want about his success. I'm generalizing. I'm saying I went into this with respect for the office of the president of the United States. I'm getting out of this without respect for him, without respect for the office of the president of the United States.
Yeah.
It's just that guy is a symbol of a lot of things that are wrong with how shit is going in our fucking country right now. And yeah, dude, we just can't have him representing us to the world anymore.
And well, even more than that, we just can't have him being controlling the country pretty much.
Yeah, through Twitter. I can't believe, isn't it so weird that they fact-checked the president of the United States and then got a retaliatory executive order?
Yeah, and
what the fuck?
And of course they put on no, this is a violent tweet notice after the whole shooting one.
Mm-hmm. You can't... I don't know. That also, man, all these aspects touch on things that I have previously been super passionate about, like free speech. He should have it too. He should be able to say that. But the other side of that coin is that you have to be able to back up your free speech. Like you have to, you have to be responsible for it. And if you start saying stuff like that, man, everybody knows what you believe in.
Oh, he straight up says, especially, well, more so with COVID-19, but probably apply to everything else, I'm not at fault.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the business person in him, dude. Never admit fault, never apologize, never say you did wrong. Those are all, business actions, to prevent you from legal trouble, Really carefully metering how you say things or, intentionally screwing things up so that it can't later be interpreted as something else.
Oh, God, compared to recently, this is almost seems like better days. Remember the whole, if maybe we should add some bleach to the vaccine. If you shove sun rays up your asshole, then that will cure you the COVID.
It was so frustrating, too.
Then even after that, he's like, I was being sarcastic. It's fuck you. Don't do that during a press conference.
Stop it. Yeah, exactly. Stop it. He was being very foolish. And also, rebuking medical professionals that are part of his own team.
Yeah.
That was abysmal, dude. It was difficult to watch. I remember being in the Shell parking lot on 35th Street, in between shoots when he declared an emergency, right? When he declared when Gretchen Whitmer declared an emergency.
Don't you mean Whitler?
Oh, no. Look, another person that I very vocally was dissatisfied with, but honestly, man, she did a good job. She did an alright job.
Yeah, she's been doing that.
For what she had to be up against, I'm okay with it. I don't have many bad things to say about Gretchen Whitmer, even though I didn't work because of her, right? I didn't get to work for 2 months because of Gretchen Whitmer.
What, you didn't get to go to places and have crazy ladies with bats?
Well, and that's another aspect of the fallout of this whole thing is everybody's examining their life right now. I'll tell you, man, I was
sleeping 4 hours a night and just working 6 days a week, 20 hours a day, up until the minute that this shit was canceled. And then all of a sudden I got my life back, and when I went back to work, my ability to take bullshit was at like 10% of its usual capacity. And I've been finding myself getting really frustrated, saying no to a lot of different things, standing up for myself a lot more in my work environment, and just, I feel like a lot of people are going to start examining all of the bullshit that they endured before this happened, and they're not going to take it anymore. And I think this protest that's going on right now has aspects of that folded into it. We're sick and tired of it. We're sick and tired of being stretched so goddamn thin that not working for a couple of weeks completely fucks up our lives. It's not right. Yeah.
All right.
To add a period.
At the very least, these epic soliloquies that were going on now are not being interrupted by hammers.
Yeah, well, to be fair to my neighbors, they're real cool people. They've been here forever. They're just moving in this weekend.
We're doing a podcast that like 3 people listen to right now. Shut the fuck.
It's what's really funny is that 2 days ago I introduced myself to them, and they're like, "Hopefully we won't ever be too loud because we like bang on shit and stuff in here." And I was like, "You'll never be too loud for me. Don't worry about it." And then fucking hammers ensue, and I'm like, "These fucking hammers are a problem." Like, dude, I inserted my foot straight into my mouth. So I keep seeing them walking past the window. I'm like, God, I feel bad.
Like, what the fuck, bro? You MC Hammer? Stop
it. Exactly. How am I going to react in the exact opposite way I said I was going to react? What a douche.
Always go with like a corny joke to show off your anger. But to finish up with the warehouse, we did temporarily have a one of the shittier bathrooms near the older part of the building shut down because someone decided to write on the wall, which was graffiti written already, "I have COVID-19, now so do you."
That is in poor taste.
Yeah, so that got shut down, but then...
I gotta catch you on the fact that you said the shittiest part of the bathroom, because that's a pun-intended situation.
Oof. That will not look good on my future podcast. Hey, Garret, remember when you unintentionally made that awful pun? No, it's a really old bathroom that they barely take care of. Probably in part because like the main contractor we use is based in that part of the building, so they use it most often. We're all like, fuck them. But they shut it down, but then I don't know how they came to the decision, but then they reopened it saying like, during this time we need this bathroom, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to keep it open because like you're taking something away from us anyway. Another bathroom because... God knows if the 3 others are filled up with people who are on their phones or taking naps, I'm going to have to use that one to shit.
Like, quit taking a nap in here. It's time for me to shit.
Yeah, and of course it took this for them to, like, paint over all the other graffiti that was in there. With other great things such as, I want pizza and kill you. And there was one... And there was a little... Someone drew a circle, then put glory hole next to it. It's a great place.
Yeah.
And then, finally, the big to-do so far is at the warehouse. This is like I said, I think, earlier. Or was I talking to you? See, times before the podcast. Time's slipping already. But, yeah, so the Lansing State Journal came out with a headline that the franchise that I work for had like 30 cases where it's at in the Lansing warehouse and like 1 death. And they brought us together in a meeting so we could socially distance while they stand up on a higher platform like the one guy at the beginning of the Warriors, can you dig it? So they're talking about like, well, I'm sure you've all seen the headline last night throughout Facebook and that. And first of all, we take a offense to the fact that they called it an outbreak. So they're kind of going with like the fake news angle there. Then they said, but think about this, folks. Throughout the thousands of people that worked throughout our entire chain, 30 people isn't that bad. We don't consider that an outbreak.
Minimizing the problem.
It's like, God, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's,
minimize, contain, ignore, deny.
That's why so many people like have taken time off, taken unemployment. That's why so many of us take our time and like don't make rate, because we know deep down they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they're just following like the basic things so that they don't get, so that Whitler won't like fucking give him a ticket or anything. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a frustrating time to be alive. It's also an exciting time to be alive because change will come from this.
Yep. Tell you though, can't wait for winter though, because Dr. Fauci, which depending on your view is either a legit doctor that has to put up with Trump's bullshit, or if you listen to Plandemic, the documentary, he's a deep state agent who wants to fuck over Trump. And he's also part of a child pornography ring that Trump is, of course, going to bust, according to QAnon.
Oh, God.
I'm
so glad. Like I because of a certain person in my life, I used to get exposed to these ideas a lot more often. And that person has not been around, and I have not heard this type of bullshit.
Yeah, back in the good old days when you would just listen to Alex Jones on repeat. Now you gotta hear about QAnon, about, well, those ships that are in the harbor for COVID patients, it's actually Trump's ships where he's tracking down the pedophile rings and stopping them.
Yeah. Okay.
The satanic pedophile rings, I might add.
Yes, the ships that were christened in, like, 1995.
The reason I don't believe all this because Trump would fucking brag about it. Mm-hmm. It's like, guys, guess what? We're doing a fantastic job. We're busting down all the Pizzagate pedophile rings.
Mm-hmm.
We are taking down the satanic demons, fucking your child.
Today, I signed an executive order to eliminate child porn peddlers.
Oh god. So yeah. Holy shit! I lost my train of thought there.
Covfefe.
Fuck. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, Dr. Fauci. Yeah,
Fauci.
He said straight up that this winter, when we usually get like the next flu and all that, this winter we're probably gonna get the big second wave. Like already we're seeing upticks as they reopen the states. Mm-hmm. I think he just straight up said that it's gonna be a dark winter. Like, oof.
Well, I mean, you keep seeing that Spanish flu chart, and it was like a little bump, and then the second wave was like a little bump, and then the third wave was like 4 times the death. Yeah.
I learned after one of my favorite podcasts called Behind the Bastards. They did episodes on the grifters during the coronavirus pandemic. Mm-hmm. You know why they call it the Spanish flu?
Because I listened to that very same podcast, so yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
And it's...
Man of culture,
Yes, I am, yeah. I am also a very large consumer of podcasts because I spend hours and hours and hours by myself, either in a vehicle or in a room. So I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yep.
And anyway, it's because it likely had an origin in Asia, but Spain was the neutral country in World War I and was the first to acknowledge that there was a pandemic or that there was an outbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they call it the Spanish flu.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what's that? You want to report the truth? Well, fuck you.
Pretty much.
All right, I think we should end this.
All right. I think the one other news item that we should cover real quick, and it'll take just a second, is we just launched fucking people into space from the United States for the first time in like 15 years.
Oh,
and it's completely not on television because of all the protests.
Well, first of all, I do almost think that's good because I think the police fucking killing a black man by smashing his fucking neck is a lot more newsworthy than going to space.
Oh, yeah, it is. But I think it's also important that we're continuing to expand our like science community to its extremes. You know, there's also been really good progress made in cold fusion and a couple of other like really important scientific discoveries that are just not going to get coverage.
Dude, I'm waiting to hear, being the pessimist I am, I'm waiting to hear a report like, wait, how many astronauts went up there?
Two.
Mm-hmm. They reveal that one of them caught COVID in space.
I'm pretty sure that they have to, like, even in the 60s, they quarantined the astronauts for weeks before their flights.
But, you see Trump come on. We got confirmation that China is using alien DNA to make this virus.
Oh, yeah. There's another thing that happened during all this pandemic.
All right.
The Navy admitted that the
UFO
UFO video footage from the Blink-182 guy was real. They were like, yep, we don't know what that is.
Yep, and scientists acknowledged that there's possibly a parallel universe that runs on like backwards time compared to us. Mm-hmm. I really don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah, that one was pretty hard to wrap around.
There's a great meme about that where some person wrote like, you know, during this COVID, it said like, you know, the government acknowledges that there's UFOs and scientists admit that there might be a parallel universe. And I'm sitting here like, bitch, I'm scared. Dude, I don't want there to be parallel universes. I really don't.
Yeah.
I used to be excited about all that, but I'm not anymore because, one, there's going to be like a parallel universe where the version of me is going to be vastly worse.
Yeah.
And
there's also going to be a parallel universe where I'm not ugly.
Well, that's the thing. So basically there's going to be three things, I think. There's going to be like a parallel universes where you're vastly worse off for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Two, there's going to be parallel universes where you're vastly better than you are now, and you're going to hate that version of yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, on the previous one, you're like, oh, God, I'm glad I'm not that version. The better one, you're going to hate them because you're not them. Mm-hmm. Then finally, there's going to be one where, like, it's only slightly tweaked, and you're still the same fucking loser you are in this.
Yeah, I'm the same loser, and instead of shitting my pants all the time, I've only done it once or twice in the other parallel universe.
Yeah, so it's like, there's literally no hope or anything because all these universes fucking suck in some way.
Well, if there's infinite possibilities, then pretty much you could pick and choose. You're like, the rest of them aren't the real me.
Yeah, but you're still gonna have that other version of you who's living it, and
he's not in my universe.
Unless you, I don't know, kill that version of yourself and overtake them.
I don't want to kill any
it's
of
like,
these.
I killed this. I, Zach Elmblad, have killed this version of Zach Elmblad and taken over his version of Elmblad Media Group, which is a major media conglomerate that basically rules over America.
I purchased Breitbart.
Yeah, Elmblad Media Group is like OCD in the RoboCop series.
Right, there's an alternative universe where I started working for Alex Jones.
Oh, God, did you hear about Alex Jones during these recent protests?
I have not fucking even tried to find out what Alex Jones is up to. I do, like, I don't want to say I don't care because I have a feeling I'm about to find out and it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't take any of my own personal time to find out what Alex Jones is up to. That man has eliminated me as an audience member a long time ago.
Well, basically, like, they try to, like, join in on these protests. And they came in with, like, an armored truck, and people fucked that truck up when they came in.
Did they know it was Alex Jones?
Yeah, because he advertised.
Is it like InfoWars all over it, like a rap?
Well, here it is. Some pictures. His armored truck.
Holy shit! Look at that. For podcast listeners, it's it looks like a military vehicle, basically.
Yeah. Well, if you want to do a big throwback, if you remember like the Limp Bizkit single "Rollin'," the music video from that, this looks like something Fred Durst would go on and like grab his crotch while move out.
Fred Durst would definitely drive that truck.
Yeah. See.
Wow. That's what Alex Jones drives.
Yeah, apparently. Well, at least for like,
or for like when the end of the world, when he believes the end of the world is happening. That's his.
Well, it's the one that I don't know if he was in it. Let's see, I'm on YouTube, so Alex Jones. All the other stuff I looked up on here, like Alex Jones 666, Alex Jones Goats.
Alex Jones.
Truck protest.
You want to talk about someone who really needs to hang up their hat? It's that fucking guy, man. He's backed himself into a corner he can't get out of. It's time for him to just go be a plumber.
Here we go. From the Progressive Voice, Alex Jones' InfoWar truck gets destroyed by protesters. There it is. Okay.
Yep.
People are surrounding it.
Yeah, I wonder if they think it's a police vehicle.
I think he has InfoWars stuff on there.
I don't see it.
It does look like a police vehicle.
It does, yeah, dude. It looks like he bought it from the cops.
Probably did.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, it says InfoWars on it. Yep, InfoWars and a big flag. Wow.
He's calling people over.
Wow. Now I feel bad for bringing that up at the end of the podcast. Wow.
There we go.
The audacity of this guy.
Yeah. Yep, they're throwing shit at him.
So distasteful. I'm surprised he didn't shoot someone.
Nah, he's too much. Oh, there we go. Smash the window.
Yeah.
Jones won't do it. Jones wouldn't do something like that. He's too much of a fucking pussy.
Yeah. Did you see the guy that shot someone with a bow and arrow?
Yep,
that got
I saw
attacked?
that. Oh, yeah. Here we go. They're throwing shit.
I love someone just goes, smash that shit.
For armored vehicle, It gets fucked up pretty easy, you know that?
Yeah. Well, it's a Walmart vehicle. It's a Walmart vehicle. Oh man, someone spray painted on it already. There's a kid hanging off of it. Oh, they just threw something at it. Threw it into the back.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Alex Jones would not shoot anyone. He's not going to run people over. He'll may, run after them for an interview like that one dude's like, hey, you son of a bitch. And then he runs after him, gets coffee thrown on him. But he's not going to do any of this revolutionary shit. You know,
yeah.
He'll lead out to his followers and that.
That's a good point.
You know, if he was leading something like he tried to do during the 9/11 truther movement, he'll be like the guy shouting on the megaphone for people to rise up, but then when they do that, he will slink into the background.
Yeah, dude, that's a good point. When I was really paying attention to him and it seemed like he had pull and leadership, it was with the Bilderberg stuff. I think 2008, when he was, he found out where the Bilderberg conference was going to be, mysteriously found out where the Bilderberg conference is going to be, right? And, booked a room in the hotel, 2 days before they got there.
Nice.
And, but, he's had like 3 events in his life that made him like a notable alternative journalist, but he's thrown it all away, man.
Yeah, the only thing I really respect him for is sneaking into Bohemian Grove. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That was 30 years ago.
I know. What happened, Alex?
Right? You got fatter than we are.
All right, let's end this.
All right, buddy.
All right, that's the end of this podcast, folks. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Zach, anything you would like to advertise?
Yeah, briefly. I was just in contact with the members of Conrad Twitty Band this past week. So we are now again expecting an album to come out soon. And hopefully we got ourselves a place to practice again. So I'll actually have like content, musical content again.
Excellent time to put out new music, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And also, I've recently posted a video on the Elmblad Media Group YouTube page, kind of detailing a little bit about my plans for the next 6 or 8 months. Trying to get through my back catalog, so a lot of that stuff's going to be coming out soon. And I am continuing to write my novel, which is now very poorly titled, Normal on Trial. And I'm thankful that I have posts about my work in progress titled Normal on Trial going back to 2014, because it is not titled that as a reaction to what people are calling the new normal post-COVID-19. Yeah. So I just want to clarify that.
You should have titled it something really timely, like the 5G Chronicles.
and the normal that's on trial is the expectations put on individuals in society. It's not about how individuals navigate the world around them. It's about how one person is expected to navigate their interior life, their mental life. So it has nothing to do with COVID-19 or any of that madness. But it is unfortunately titled Normal on Trial, which I'm sure will get brought up if anybody at all reads it.
Yeah. Well, folks, I should announce too that I'm going to do an epic undertaking like the last week of this month. I am going on since I had to cancel my New York trip this summer, since it's the city of the dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
I still have that week off, so I am going to do a writer's retreat, which I am going to go here in Kalamazoo to the Woodspring Suites, which is probably the fanciest long-term stay hotel here in Kalamazoo.
Probably.
I'm comparing this to like all the crack motels where you get like weekly rates.
Yeah.
And I am just going to lock myself in there basically and finish up this literary novel currently called The Gold Star Turns Black. I've been working on it off since 2015, and I just want to fucking finish it.
Hell
this
yeah,
is the only way I can do is just lock myself in this hotel room and don't leave it. Just work on it, stay on the property. If something gets so bad where like I'm going to pull a Plath and like stick my head in the oven, then yeah, I'll go take a jog or something. But yeah, it's going to be my big epic undertaking, which I'm sure I'll talk about on the podcast.
Sure.
And folks, thanks for listening. You can find this on this podcast on various outlets, various websites: Anchor, YouTube, Internet Archive, Mixcloud, Breaker, Radio, something, Google Podcasts. Check out my website, GarretSchuelke.tumblr.com. Has the links to all my stuff and all this podcast. Everything you could ever want about the great Garret Schuelke is on there. And yeah, I think we're done. Zach, thanks for being on again. Thanks for putting up with this shit again. And thank you for showing me some secret skills earlier that I won't mention. I will assure you, folks, they are not sexual in any way. That's going to be for another time.
My pleasure.
All right, folks, have a good night, and here's the outro song.
every dollar that I've made, at every show I've ever played, in every place that I've ever signed my name, in everything that I've ever bought on credit at the company shop, and all the bills that I'll never pay. And all the progress that is claimed in the name of the modern day and age, and every ballot stuffed in the box, and all of the incentives that turn the cell blocks into tourist traps, and every bullet that they've ever shot. And all your evidence of entropy, and your dogmatic brand loyalty, and the pride that comes before the fall, and every inch of the rising sea, and all the cops out on the street, and every reason that I feel small. Burn it all, oh, burn it all, oh, burn it all, oh, burn it all. From every epicenter of every urban sprawl, oh, burn it all. And through the streets downtown to the empty shopping malls, oh, burn it all. And through the corridors of every city hall, burn it all. And every brick in every border wall, oh, burn it all. Oh, burn it all. Oh, burn it all.